When I was 5 months pregnant, Chungzian's cherished first love came to our home, provoked me, and set the place on fire. I didn't contact Chungzian. Instead, I covered my mouth and nose with a damp cloth and waited silently for rescue, because in my past life, the moment the fire broke out, I had called him back, begging him to take me to the emergency room. In the end, the baby was saved. But Zhou Yan perished in the flames that very day. He told me not to blame myself, urging me to rest in the hospital for the delivery, and even took time off work to care for me. Yet, on the very day I gave birth, he cruelly laid hands on our child. He pushed both me and our baby into the raging fire. In my final moments, through the blaze, I saw his vicious, twisted face. If you hadn't set that fire on purpose, Yan Yan would still be alive. Did you think you could fool me by playing the victim? Dream on. I'm going to make you pay with your life. You like setting fires, don't you? Then I'll let you experience it firsthand. You're going to feel exactly what Yan Yan went through before she died. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the scene of the fire. Thick smoke poured into my nostrils, and I was racked by violent coughing fits. The pain jolted me awake from the memories of my past life. I immediately grabbed my phone, but this time, I didn't call my husband, the rescue team captain. Instead, I dialed the public emergency hotline. When the rescue team arrived, I spotted Chungzian's familiar figure from a distance. Only after he carried Zhou Yan out of the fire did I feel safe enough to cry out and call the others for help. The other team members thought I was just causing trouble and sternly scolded me for a long time. A wall ornament came loose and crashed down, landing heavily on my pregnant belly. I immediately coughed up a mouthful of blood, but they still acted as if they hadn't heard or seen a thing. Clenching my teeth against the searing pain, I mustered every ounce of strength to crawl out of the inferno. But all the cooling equipment was being used on Zhou Yan. Chungzian couldn't even be bothered to look at me, just snarling that I'd brought this on myself. Agony racked my body, cold sweat drenched me, blood trickled from my mouth, and I could feel the life of my child slipping away at a terrifying speed. In my past life, the moment the fire broke out, both Zhou Yan and I called him for help, but for the sake of the child, he chose to rescue me first. By the time he returned to the fire scene, the blaze was already uncontrollable, making it impossible to go back in and save anyone. Zhou Yan perished in the inferno right then and there, her body completely consumed by the flames. Chungzian said it was okay, and even urged me not to grieve or blame myself. To comfort me, he even took time off work to stay with me during my labor. Yet, on the very day I gave birth, he dragged me and our newborn to Zhou Yan's grave. Right before my eyes, he slit the baby's throat with a single slash. Blood splattered across his face, making his eyes appear even more crimson. Zhang Yu, do you have any idea what it's like to be burned alive? The agony Yan Yan endured, I will make you repay 100-fold. Later, I granted his wish, perishing in the flames alongside our child. This time, reborn, I only wish to flee far, far away. Yet he still refuses to let me go, begrudging even the most basic cooling equipment for first aid. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the blood gushing from beneath me. With a final, desperate cry, I howled through a ragged, ruined throat, "Save the child, please." The teammate nearest to me finally noticed, turning his head to look, but his eyes were filled with nothing but scorn and derision. He gave me a kick with his foot. "Sis-in-law, drop the act. Everyone in our team knows you can't stand Sister Yan Yan. Who'd have thought you'd set a fire while pregnant? The boss has already gone to rescue her. No one's buying your performance. Honestly, I kind of admire you for going to such lengths for a man. It's just a shame the boss only has eyes for Sister Yan Yan. You'd better pray she's okay, or watch out, the boss might just divorce you on the spot." Chapter 2. I knew Chungzian didn't love me, but I never imagined even his teammates saw me that way. Waves of intense abdominal contractions robbed me of my voice. My scorching skin began to peel directly under the extreme heat. All the crew members were busy fighting the fire, and not a single one asked how I was doing. In my dazed state, I heard someone nearby exclaim, "Oh my God, why is there so much blood on the floor? This is bad, really bad." You don't think something's actually happened to the boss's wife, do you? What could possibly have happened? She probably just wants the boss to come see her. She's been making a scene for ages now. Fine, go ahead and try calling the boss over. But I didn't get Chungzian's concern, only his cold, relentless interrogation. A gloved hand slapped me hard across the face, twice. "Zhang Yu, wake up, stop pretending. I'm right here. Have you lost your mind? You started the fire and managed to burn yourself. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. Was it worth it?" Even now, he still thinks I started the fire. still believes I'm just putting on an act out of jealousy. I wanted to explain, but my mouth was so parched I couldn't utter a single word. The pain in my stomach was absolutely excruciating. All I could do was reach out and clutch his sleeve, desperately hoping he would understand my silent plea for help. He hesitated for a moment, then pressed down hard on my abdomen. "You're quite the actor." If Yen Yen hadn't told me you hid yourself right after setting the fire, I might have actually believed you. With those words, he turned and left without a moment's hesitation. The next second, a teammate's cry of alarm sounded beside me. "Boss, blood, the missus is bleeding. Is she having a miscarriage?" "Ignore her," Yen Yen said. "It's just chicken blood. The baby's 5 months along. It's not that easy to lose. If she wants to put on a show, let her." After the excruciating pain, everything went black before my eyes, and I completely lost consciousness. In my dream, it was as if I had returned to the time when I first met Qingxian, at a campus lecture. His expression was as cold as ice, yet his exceptional professional skills won the hearts of many female students. I was no exception. After falling for him at first sight, I began asking around for information about him. Back then, I was just a trainee lecturer at the school, and he looked down on me. I studied harder and harder to get his attention. After becoming a full-time employee, I took him out to dinner under the pretense of thanking him. I keenly sensed a change in the way he looked at me. I seized this opportunity and pursued him with all my might. Flowers, a basketball, cake, coffee. I was never stingy with gifts I could give. Finally, I got my wish. He said yes to my confession. I thought this was the beginning of happiness, but little did I know it was the start of my nightmare. After we got together, he grew increasingly distant. Every time we had plans, it was always because he was swamped with work or had some sudden emergency rescue mission. I never once doubted his word, until the day of our wedding. An email from abroad shattered my beautiful dream completely. Zhou Yan meticulously documented their 10 years together. Every single memory, every second of it, felt like a knife twisting in my heart. It turns out, all the time he stood me up, he was spending with another woman. What's even more pathetic is that I didn't even have the courage to confront him. I was afraid he would leave. In my past life, when Zhou Yan died, he was so composed that it made me believe, for a time, that I was the one who had won in this relationship. He nearly cleared out every baby and maternity store in the city for me and our child. The sudden surge of affection hit me like a fever, completely robbing me of my ability to think. It wasn't until after I gave birth, in the moment I died by his hand, that I finally understood. He wasn't loving me with his life. He was just exacting revenge with everything he had. Chapter 3. From beginning to end, the only one in his heart was Zhou Yan. The moment I woke up, I was already in a hospital room, but the faces surrounding me were not Qingxian's. They were strangers. "You're awake. I'm your downstairs neighbor. I went up to check on the fire, but I found you lying on the floor all alone, so I brought you to the hospital. Are you okay? How are you feeling?" I struggled to move my limbs, but when my hands touched my stomach, my movements froze. "I'm so sorry. The doctor said when you arrived that they couldn't save your baby." I forced a bitter smile. "It's not your fault, I know. Thank you for bringing me to the hospital." Even a stranger could see at a glance that something was wrong with me, yet my husband of 5 years couldn't be bothered to look my way. Seeing me so downcast, he was even more upset than I was. "What's wrong with these rescue teams? How could they just leave a person lying there and not help? If I hadn't gone up to check, you'd be dead by now. Where's your family? Doesn't the child's father care at all? If you have his number, I'll call him to come over. You shouldn't be left alone right now. I've already reported that rescue team. People like them are a cancer on society if they're allowed to keep going." I nodded, but when I tried to speak, only a breathy whisper came out. "The child's father is dead." As he finished speaking, his face was etched with sympathy. He offered to take care of me until I was discharged from the hospital. I declined his kind offer. After transferring the hospital and surgery fees to him, I persuaded him to leave. Although he was gone, the online discourse continued to simmer. The story about the rescue captain's own backyard catching fire is a hot topic in itself. It has now rocketed to the top of the trending charts on all major platforms. A well-meaning neighbor posted a photo of me collapsed on the ground in the comments section. It instantly sparked a firestorm online, with everyone slamming the rescue team for only caring about putting out fires. They turned a blind eye to the pregnant woman and the life inside her. If that's the case, they should be called a fire brigade, not shamelessly hijack the title of rescue. After scouring the comments section of the online abuse, I still feel this punishment was too lenient for Qingxian. I opened the chat window, about to send him the message about divorce. Zhou Yan's bragging message popped up first. "So she was in this hospital too, staying right below me, in the photo." Qingxian was personally feeding her porridge, carefully blowing on it over and over, afraid she might burn herself. I've seen countless photos of the two of them intimately intertwined. Images like this haven't stirred any emotion in me for a long time. Silently, I closed the chat window and called Qingxian. On the fifth ring, he finally picked up, his voice dripping with impatience. You have the nerve to call. What do you want? To ask if Yan Yan is dead. Well, sorry to disappoint you. I saved her. She's alive and well, right here in the hospital. Zhang Yu, after all this time knowing you, I never thought you were this kind of person. Do you have any idea what you're doing? You're killing someone. Have you lost your mind? I'm giving you 1 hour. Get your ass to the hospital room and apologize to her right now, or we're getting a divorce. Before I could say a word, Zhou Yan's voice came through the line, choked with sobs of, Brother Xian. Please don't blame sister-in-law. It's all my fault. If she says I started the fire, just agree with her. Don't argue with her. A pregnant woman shouldn't get too upset. Qingxian let out a long sigh and said with disappointment, You're just too kind-hearted. That's why she's been walking all over you all this time. We knew each other first. So who does Zhang Yu think she is? What right does she have to lay a hand on you? Chapter 4. Stay out of this. I'm going to make sure she learns her lesson this time, no matter what. Just as the two of them were being all lovey-dovey, I spoke up calmly. Alright, let's get a divorce. I agree. I'll send you the papers right away. Don't forget to sign. Qingxian clearly hadn't expected me to be the one to bring up divorce. I froze for a split second before fury erupted. Just as I was about to explode, I slammed the phone down. Before I could even block his number, a barrage of text messages came flooding in. Where are you? Zhang Yu, have you lost your mind today? I've been holding back because you're pregnant, and now you're pushing your luck. You think just because you're pregnant I won't dare divorce you. I'm afraid the day you give birth, with no one to sign the forms, you'll have to crawl off that bed and beg me on your knees. And one more thing, get that news story taken down from the internet, now. Don't make me expose you for who you really are in front of everyone. I didn't read any further. I deleted all the messages and blocked his number, even though I had already learned this painful lesson in a past life. But being betrayed by him again, my heart still ached for a moment. Against my will, the nurses who came in to change my bandages didn't notice my expression and started chatting among themselves. That man downstairs is so handsome. It's the first time I've seen a couple so perfectly matched. I heard they're childhood sweethearts who started dating in school. I'm so jealous. Your info is so outdated. The latest news is that Mr. Chung spent a fortune to rent out a whole canteen window, just so he could personally cook for his beloved wife every day and make sure she gets his homemade congee. When I went to apply her medicine just now, Mr. Chung wouldn't even let me touch her. He insisted on doing it himself. Now that's what I call true couple goals. I stared numbly at the needle mark on the back of my hand. My arm, where a layer of skin had peeled off, throbbed with a painful, maddening itch. When they finally left, it felt like a reprieve. I gulped down air in great, desperate breaths. Yet, I simply couldn't draw it into my lungs. That evening, the doctor came to see me and said that due to the severe blow to my abdomen, it would be very difficult for me to ever have my own children. Hearing those words, my first reaction was, surprisingly, one of relief. It's a good thing, I thought. Without a child, he wouldn't have to suffer alongside me. An innocent life, one that deserved so much better. Once everyone had left the hospital room, I took out my phone to check the latest updates online. The online bullying had escalated out of control, forcing the head of the rescue unit to come forward with an explanation. However, the explanation he gave was that I had staged the entire fire myself. It was out of jealousy that I deliberately hurt someone. Not only did I waste the organization's rescue resources, but I also got their exemplary team leader criticized because of me. In the video, the leader kept saying he hoped netizens would let the matter drop, yet, with every single word, he was steering the root of the conflict toward me, to lend credibility to the video. Qingxian registered an account under his real name and posted our marriage certificate. His action completely sealed my fate, drowning me in the tidal wave of online violence. The torrent of abuse originally aimed at the rescue team suddenly turned and came crashing down on me. My profile page was overwhelmed and taken down by the platform. My attempts to explain myself were drowned out by the torrent of online abuse. In the following days, I could feel the hostility in the eyes of every doctor and nurse at the hospital. If not for a shred of professional duty holding them back, I'm sure I would have been thrown out. Every day, I received packages from all over the country, each one containing nothing but threats. I never offered a single word in my own defense. I only sent Qingxian a message on the day the doctor said I could be discharged. Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow to finalize the paperwork. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. He seized this brief window of opportunity to call me back. Well, couldn't stay hidden any longer, could you? Finally decided to show your face. I warned you. I gave you a chance. You're the one who refused to take down that online smear campaign. Don't blame me now for not holding back. If it weren't for Yen Yen pleading on your behalf, I would have called the police and had you arrested ages ago. Fine. Let's get a divorce when the child grows up without a father. Don't come crying to me. If he ends up a fatherless orphan, you have only yourself to blame. Before I could even speak, he had already hung up the phone. Silently, I opened the home surveillance app and copied the video footage of Zhou Yan setting the fire that day. Early the next morning, after being discharged from the hospital, I went straight to the Civil Affairs Bureau with my documents, but when the time came, it was Zhou Yan who showed up. I told you couldn't beat me. Even your husband is just my little lapdog. The moment her eyes fell on my abdomen, she feigned surprise and said, "Oh my, the little bastard is gone, what a shame, killed by his own father in a past life, and done in by his own father again in this one. With a mother like you, he was doomed from the start. Could it be, she's a reincarnator too?" Before my brain could even process it, my hand had already struck her across the face. After the miscarriage, my body was weak and I had little strength. Yet she fell straight to the ground. Yen Yen, Qingzian rushed from behind me and shoved me aside with force. I tumbled down the steps, only coming to a stop with my face covered in blood. Qingzian held the person in his arms. Then, as if remembering something, he whipped his head around to stare at my stomach. His face instantly drained of all color when he saw the flatness of my abdomen. "Where's the child?" I scrambled to my feet. My movements stiff and awkward from the wound. I clutched my bag over my abdomen, my gaze fixed on him, dripping with scorn. The child. What, does a bastard orphan actually warrant the concern of the great Captain Sanjo of the rescue team? What a paragon of virtue, praised by the entire internet, truly touching. But your concern is wasted. The child is gone. She died in the fire that day. Oh, and congratulations. By the way, the lovers are finally united. I just wonder how long your little honeymoon will last. Savor it while you can. If you want to see your wife later, you'll have to visit her in prison. Qingzian's brow furrowed deeply, his features contorted with intense hatred. "Zhang Yu, must you lace every word with venom? I'm the team captain. Saving people is my duty. That day, you started the fire, and I didn't hold you accountable. I even saved Yen Yen for you. And now you're turning on me. How dare you speak to me like that? You have no right. What's really going on with the child? Are you wearing some kind of corset or something? Let me make this clear. I am the child's biological father, and that's a fact you can't change. Even if you gave birth today without telling me, I would still fight you for custody. I never imagined that after all these years of marriage, this is how he sees me. This marriage is utterly ridiculous." After saying that, he helped Zhou Yan up and started walking towards me to check on my stomach. Zhou Yan let out a timely cry of pain, instantly making him change direction. "Are you alright? Where does it hurt? Should I take you to the hospital? You've just recovered. We can't take any chances." "I'm fine. Please don't be angry with my sister. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have gone to the house that day and upset her. If I had known she didn't like me, I should have kept my distance. It's all my mistake." Tears of grievance fell. Qingzian's eyes immediately reddened with heartache. The way the two of them were intimate, as if no one else was around, turned my stomach. Chapter 6. I couldn't help but speak up to stop them. Had enough of the lovey-dovey act. "If you're done, go inside and get the paperwork done. I'll get out of your way, so you two don't have to sneak around anymore." With just a few words, I effortlessly managed to infuriate him. "Zhang Yu, is your heart made of stone? Can't you see how much you've hurt Yen Yen? I order you to apologize to her, right now." His sheer audacity almost made me laugh. Catching a glimpse of Zhou Yan's smug, triumphant face behind him, I said coldly, "You're the one who's blind. You pushed me down the stairs. Did you ever apologize? And what gives you the right to call yourself this child's father? By ignoring me at the scene of the fire, or by spending the entire 5 months of my pregnancy tangled up with another woman?" His face flushed with rage, his eyebrows drawn together in fury as he shouted at me, "Just look at you, pregnant and setting the house on fire, trying to burn Yen Yen alive. I thought this past week would have given you time to cool off, but clearly that was wishful thinking. You selfish, vicious bitch. You don't deserve to be a mother. Once the baby is born, you will hand it over to me. If you treat Yen Yen well, I might consider letting you see the child more often. Otherwise, don't even think about laying eyes on him." He was shouting so loudly that he drew the attention of many passers-by. Someone recognized him as the triple threat captain who had recently gone viral online. They all stopped in their tracks to watch, fearing that no one would confront me. Zhou Yan immediately spoke up and revealed my identity. Sis, I know you hate me. But think of the baby you're carrying. You tried to set me on fire while pregnant, and I can forgive that. I just beg you. Please don't be angry anymore, okay? The moment I finished speaking, a torrent of curses came crashing down on me. Isn't that the venomous woman from the internet, the one who played the victim first? She's been getting dragged for a week and still won't lay low. Someone like her treats human life as a joke. What's a little online hate to her? It's just a tickle. That poor child is suffering because of her, carrying the weight of a life before it's even born. How has someone like her not been run over by a car yet? Faced with the torrent of abuse, Qingxian showed not the slightest intention of defending me. He remained as aloof and superior as ever. Are you deaf? Apologize to Yin Yin. Sure. Right after she kneels at my child's grave and apologizes to them. You're impossible. Beyond hope. I must have been blind to marry you. I want a divorce. Right now, hearing this, a triumphant gleam flashed in Zhou Yan's eyes. I didn't say a word, just lowered my head and brushed the dust off my clothes. Go ahead, laugh. The more you laugh now, the harder you'll cry when you're behind bars later. The staff recognized us while we were going through the formalities. Their eyes were filled with pity as they looked at Qingxian. It was as if divorcing me was a liberation for him. I was the one standing in the way of his happiness. I let them point their camera lenses at me, snapping away frantically. Then they posted it online, tearing me to shreds. The moment we stepped out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Qingxian didn't even glance my way. He wrapped his arm around Zhou Yan, and the two of them got straight into the car. In my panic, I even forgot to ask about the child's condition. Since he didn't ask, I was spared the need to explain. With my home burned to the ground, I went straight out and rented a room. After signing the contract, I headed straight for the police station. On the way, Zhou Yan sent me a gloating text message. I opened the photo. Inside, Qingxian was at the sales office, picking out a new place for the two of them. You couldn't beat me in your last life, and you're still the loser this time. Accept your fate. That bastard child of yours was never meant to be born. Chapter 7. Chapter 7. I saved every message she had ever sent and handed them over to the police. Along with the footage I had extracted from the surveillance cameras, the police initially recognized me as the person rumored online to have started the fire, and their attitude towards me was less than friendly. But after watching the video, all that was left on their faces was pity. If you had the evidence, why didn't you hand it over sooner? I shook my head. The timing wasn't right. If I'd released the video at the start, I wouldn't have been able to get a clean divorce. True revenge is letting her soar to the highest heights, only to send her crashing down. The police didn't say anything more, just told me to go home and wait for the results. They promised to investigate as soon as possible. For the past few years of my marriage, I've been a full-time housewife with no income of my own. Now that I'm getting a divorce, my top priority is to find a job as quickly as possible. Otherwise, I won't even have the money to take Zhou Yan to court. I downloaded a job search app and sent my resume to local companies. But the impact of the online harassment was worse than I expected. They wouldn't even give me a chance for an interview. Their replies were just empty excuses. They said it was because I lacked work experience. But on my end, I could see they hadn't even opened the email with my resume. They probably saw my name and just tossed it out. I wasn't ready to give up, so I started calling the HR departments one by one. At first, some people were willing to pick up and talk to me. But then, even my phone number ended up on the industry's blacklist. I'm not even angry about it, given that I'm currently in the eye of the storm of public opinion. The moment it's exposed which company hired me, they'd immediately be drowned in a torrent of online abuse. As a graduate from a top-tier university, I never imagined I'd one day face the predicament of being unemployable. And all of this happened because I misjudged someone when I was young. I gave up on the idea of working in an office. Instead, I set my sights on entry-level service jobs. I started wandering around major shopping malls, actively applying wherever I saw a help-wanted sign. In the end, a jewelry shop took me in. During this time, the photos taken by the Civil Affairs Bureau staff had already gone viral online. Everyone knew that I, the arsonist, had been abandoned by my husband. They all clapped and cheered. A passerby spotted Qingxian and Zhou Yan on a date, took a photo with them, and posted it online. The comment section was flooded with well wishes. A netizen even quietly revealed that they had asked Qingxian, who said the couple's happy event was just around the corner. The official account of the city's largest hotel also issued an announcement at this time. They said Qingxian's wedding banquet was booked at their hotel. Watching the endless stream of well wishes online, a faint smile touched my lips. So much for his claim that he only saw Zhou Yan as a sister and that their relationship was purely innocent. And yet, the moment the divorce was finalized, he couldn't wait to hold the wedding. Having lived through everything from a past life, what was once love has long since turned to hatred. The news of their marriage no longer stirs any feeling in me, however. It does provide me with a rather perfect stage. I imagine the bride and groom being arrested by the police right at their wedding reception. That's going to be quite a scene. A day later, I was at work in the jewelry store. I ran into the two of them, who were out shopping for jewelry. When Zhou Yan saw me, her expression wasn't one of surprise. It was clear they had done their homework beforehand, which is why they deliberately chose this place. Honey, does this look good on me? My sweet Yan looks beautiful in anything. Do you like it? If you like it, we'll buy it. The whole reason I work is to spoil you. Because of the cut on my face, I wore a mask to work, yet, Qingzian recognized me instantly. I was about to turn and leave when Zhou Yan spoke up. Excuse me, could you show me this ring, please? Chapter 8. I glanced around the shop. All my other colleagues were busy attending to customers. I was the only one left with nothing to do. Muttering a curse under my breath, I turned and retrieved the ring from the display case for her. Qingzian's gaze fell on my flat stomach, and his brow furrowed uncontrollably. Zhongyu, what's the meaning of you wearing a corset all this time? Don't you know it's bad for the baby? I placed the ring on the table without so much as a glance in his direction. Sir, I don't believe we've met. If you continue to harass me, I won't hesitate to call the police. He grabbed my wrist abruptly, ready to pull up my clothes. I dodged out of the way in a flash, leaving him furious. Do you have any idea what you're doing? You're 5 months pregnant. Who said you could come to work? Are you crazy? Who said I was pregnant? Are you buying it or not? If not, then get lost. He ignored what I said and actually laid hands on me in public, grabbing me by the collar. Zhongyu, even if we're divorced, I'm still the father of the child you're carrying. I have a right to have a say. The eyes of everyone else in the shop were drawn to the commotion. He still went ahead and pulled up my clothes without a second thought. When he saw my abdomen was completely flat, with no sign of the corset he had mentioned, Qingzian's face turned ashen. Where is the child? I'm asking you for the last time, where is the child? He lost control and roared at me. Deaf even to Zhou Yan's pleas by his side, I calmly pried his hand away, finding the whole situation rather absurd. I've already told you, the baby is gone. It died that day, in the fire, while you were saving Zhou Yan and taking her to the hospital. Your child died, it's dead. In an instant, he was as if struck by lightning. His face turned deathly pale, and his body froze in place. After a long, stunned silence, he finally uttered in disbelief, impossible, how could she be dead? You were fine that day, you set the fire yourself. How could you have burned your own child? You're joking with me, right? Tell me, say you're joking. Zhou Yan concealed the triumph in her eyes and gently slipped her arm through his. She then turned her gaze toward me. Sis, don't take this the wrong way, but the baby isn't just yours. How could you go behind Xian's back and get an abortion? How could you be so heartless? I already said I don't blame you for the fire. So why can't you just spare the child? You can't take your anger out like this. That's a living, breathing human life. It's not some toy for you to play with. Qingzian's simmering rage was instantly ignited by those words. The next second, his hands shot out and clamped around my throat. My breath came in ragged gasps, my face flushing a deep, suffused red. He continued to press his accusations, ignoring everything else. Did you have an abortion behind my back? I struggled with all my might, but I still couldn't break free from his grip. Finally, a colleague noticed something was wrong and rushed over to pull him away. I clutched my stomach, coughing violently, yet, all that remained in my heart was the sweet thrill of revenge. Get rid of the baby. Remember this, Qingzian, you killed our child with your own hands at the fire scene. You trust this woman by your side, don't you? Then keep trusting her. Our dead child will be watching you from heaven. Watching his own father, the man who killed him, marry another woman. Qingzian was stunned by my words, unable to react for a long moment. Zhou Yan stepped forward with feigned concern, uttering words meant to console me, yet, with each sentence, she nailed me to the pillar of shame for my supposed sins. She leaned close to my ear and spoke in a voice meant only for me. You took everything from me, and you deserve every bit of this today. That bastard never should have lived. Chapter 9. I wound up and slapped her hard across the face, fingernails scraped across her skin, drawing beads of blood on her face. She instantly put on an expression of utter grievance. Qingzian finally snapped out of it and rushed to my side. He grabbed my hair and slammed my head against the counter. He kept roaring furiously, you bitch, you're insane. How dare you kill my child? What gives you the right? I'll make you pay with your life. I'll kill you. The glass cabinet door cracked from the impact, and shards embedded themselves in the skin of my forehead. I felt numb to the pain, my gaze vacant and empty. Humans are such strange creatures. In a past life, for Zhou Yan's sake, he killed the child with his own hands. This time, to avenge that child, he wants to kill me. Indeed, the grass is always greener on the other side. The clerk called security, finally putting an end to the whole farce. Qing Ziyan finally calmed down after Zhou Yan's persuasion, but the look he gave me was still full of hatred. They left, but I lost my job too. The manager blamed me for my poor service attitude and for getting into a public altercation with a customer, saying it created a terrible impression. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her and just took a taxi straight to the hospital. I contacted the police on the way. After hearing the evidence was solid, I confirmed the time of the arrest with them. It was set for the day of the wedding. While cleaning my wounds, the doctor saw my recent miscarriage on my medical record and was filled with pity. Young people really need to take care of their health. If you keep going like this, your body will give out sooner or later. I nodded with a bitter smile. Once we get everyone who needs to be admitted settled in, there will still be time to rest and recuperate slowly, while I was paying the fees. Qing Ziyan sent me a flood of messages using Zhou Yan's number. He never asks why I had the abortion, only accuses me of making the decision on my own. To this day, he still believes I had the child terminated in secret, and the woman he loves has always been the picture of innocence. I didn't reply to his message. I left the hospital and took a taxi back to the mall. I obtained the surveillance footage of Qing Ziyan assaulting me in public from the security guards and submitted it to the police. For the next 3 days, I holed up in my rented apartment to recover. I kept an eye on the real-time updates online. It's either they get spotted shopping for jewelry, or they get asked for photos while trying on wedding dresses. The buzz around the two of them is practically on par with that of A-list celebrities. Since that day, Qing Ziyan hasn't sent me a single message, let alone asked how I was. Perhaps in his heart, I'm just the cruel murderer who killed his child. The word lover had long since ceased to apply, yet, Zhou Yan continued to post updates every day, without exception. They were all moments of the couple's blissful happiness. On the wedding day, the entire rescue team was present, forming 2 lines at the hotel entrance. I wasn't invited the moment I showed up. They stopped me at the door without a second thought. Everyone looked at me with mocking eyes, glancing at my flat stomach. Their expressions turned to outright disdain. The boss didn't mention inviting you today, did he? Sis-in-law, no, sister you'd better not go in and cause a scene. If the boss finds out we let a murderer like you in, our bonuses are toast. I explained to them calmly, with a composed expression, that I was only there to observe and would not say a word. But they still refused to let me through. As more and more guests arrived, many of the relatives present had attended my wedding to Qing Ziyan. He recognized me but didn't give me a single friendly look. He then turned and ordered the hotel security to throw me out. Someone hurled a drink bottle at me, calling me a heartless ingrate. Chapter 10. Someone would spit in my face and call me a cold-hearted snake. The wedding was about to begin. They had no time for me and hurried inside. Seizing the chance, I followed behind the cleaning staff, changed into their uniform, and finally managed to get in. The ceremony reached its final step. As the two exchanged rings, I looked down, took out my phone, and sent a message, "Move in, now." The very next second, the banquet hall doors were smashed open from the outside. A swarm of police officers rushed in, surrounding the bride and groom. Qing Ziyan furrowed his brow, a mix of confusion and anger on his face. A flicker of panic flashed in Zhou Yan's eyes, but she forced herself to stay calm. Just as the guests exchanged bewildered glances, I slowly walked onto the stage. "Excuse me for interrupting, everyone. Miss Zhou Yan is suspected of arson and intentional homicide. I have already submitted the evidence to the police. Mr. Qing is suspected of dereliction of duty for deliberately refusing to provide aid at the fire scene, compounded by assault in public. I have also filed a lawsuit. I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid today's wedding cannot proceed. If Mr. Qing still wishes to hold a wedding banquet in the future, you might all have to visit them in prison." Furious, Qing Ziyan began shouting curses at me on the spot. Just as he was about to lunge forward and throw a punch, the police officers pinned him down firmly. Zhou Yan explained in a panic, still trying to pin the blame on me to this very moment. Unfortunately, no one was listening to her. At the police station, Qing Ziyan watched the surveillance footage of the arson at his home, his expression turning complex. After a long silence, he finally spoke. "So, you were the one who set that fire in our past life. So he was a reincarnator too." No wonder he was practically shouting his love for Zhou Yan from the rooftops this time. It was to make up for the regrets of a past life. Zhou Yan, with no defense left, Could only offer a clumsy apology and beg for his forgiveness? Chingxian looked at her with eyes full of disappointment, then turned away. Her gaze then fell upon me. She started apologizing to me, begging for my forgiveness. I know her type. She'd never truly believe she did anything wrong. Her confession now is nothing but an attempt to gain my leniency. She doesn't want to go to jail. Far from forgiving, I repeatedly urged the police to ensure a severe sentence. After the police took her away, only Chingxian and I remained in the interrogation room. The guilt of 2 lifetimes combined was almost enough to crush his sanity. Trembling with emotion, he stood up and knelt directly before me. I'm sorry. It's my fault the child died. I take back everything I said to you before. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but can you do one thing for me? In all the time we've known each other, this is the only thing I'll ever ask of you. Please leave a space for me next to our child's grave. I want to be buried with them. I looked at him. A sense of foreboding stirring within me, but I didn't give him a direct answer. After giving their statements, they left the police station. The police subsequently made the investigation results public. The online storm of abuse instantly reversed course, but since the 2 were already in police custody, no matter how vicious the insults became, they couldn't hear them. The other members of the rescue team, having believed Chingxian's account on the day of the fire, took no action regarding my injuries. They were also suspended from duty as a result. The day the official announcement was released was the same day Zhou Yan and Chingxian were sent to prison. My phone was flooded with apology messages from the team members. I didn't reply. I started sending out resumes again. This job search went much more smoothly. The very next day, I successfully started at a new company. The chairperson is a middle-aged woman, and I've heard she's a single mother too. Because of the news online, she took a particular interest in my situation. She gave me plenty of opportunities to better myself. I kept my head down and focused entirely on my work. It was a week later when I finally saw the news from 3 days ago. Chingxian committed suicide in prison. Zhou Yan, for framing a pregnant woman, was ostracized by the other female inmates in prison. In just 1 week, she had already been admitted to the hospital 3 times. According to a comment from a netizen claiming to be medical staff, Zhou Yan is still in the ICU, and her condition remains critical. I let out a soft chuckle and gave the news story a like. Justice may be delayed, but it is never denied. Story 2. When the impoverished Shen Ming ordered me to give his little childhood sweetheart 30,000 yuan every month, otherwise he wouldn't accept my sponsorship, I knew he had also been reborn, in my previous life. I poured money and resources into making him the richest man in Asia, but he thought he was born to be a domineering CEO. He even condescendingly threatened me. I'm only giving you this one chance. Miss it, and even if you kneel down and beg me, it won't work. I immediately stopped his card, bought him a bottle of sleeping pills, and let him be the richest man in his dreams every day. 1. During the big break, Gu Jingqing came to ask me for money, hugging his little childhood sweetheart. He slapped the note with the bank card number on the table and then ordered me, from now on, you transfer 30,000 yuan of living expenses to Warner's account every month. Suddenly, the people around cast strange glances. They probably had never seen such an arrogant impoverished student asking someone for money without even a word of explanation. I was so angry that I laughed. Why should I? He turned around, with an expression of how dare you question me, and sneered, it's just 30,000 yuan. Do you still need a reason? 30,000 yuan can't even buy one of my ties. He raised his chin and was about to fasten his tie, but what he was wearing wasn't some high-end custom-made suit, but a sweatshirt bought online for 500 yuan. Gu Jingqing had been President Gu for too long in his previous life and had actually forgotten that he used to be an impoverished student with less money in his pocket than on his face. In my previous life, I spent money and resources to forcefully make him the richest man in Asia, but he thought he was born to be President Gu. He was used to bossing around his subordinates on weekdays and always spoke to me in a tone of notice and command, but without me, what was he? 30,000 yuan for a tie. Are you daydreaming, Gu Jingqing? Before I sponsored you, you couldn't even afford a 10 yuan boxed meal. I coldly laughed and crumpled the note into a ball, casually throwing it into the trash can. Also, why should I give her living expenses? I'm not her mother. Gu Jingqing's face turned livid. Just as he was about to get angry, Song Shaowan, his little childhood sweetheart, blocked him protectively like a mother hen protecting her chicks. Su Ran, how can you be so vicious? 30,000 yuan is nothing to you, but it's the living expenses for me and brother Gu for a month. Your family is so rich, helping us is only natural. Is it necessary to humiliate us like this? After saying that, She herself cried grievously, "Brother Gu, even if my mother and I end up on the streets, I won't allow you to put down your dignity and beg her for my sake." Seeing the little childhood sweetheart who was bullied to tears by me, that vicious woman, Gu Jingqing was so that he quickly pulled her into his arms and comforted her softly. In the previous life, Song Shaowan donated a kidney to him. He thought that was true love and also regarded me as a stumbling block on the road of their relationship, but in fact, I paid a high price for that kidney. Song Shaowan raised the price at the last moment before the operation to extort me, which was why the two of them had a chance to meet again. Gu Jingqing embezzled public funds to buy her a villa, luxury cars, and pay off her mother's huge gambling debts. I endured it. I don't stop the reborn Gu Jingqing from rekindling his relationship with her, but he actually wants to continue spending my money to repay Song Shaowan for the kindness of a kidney. Why? Do I look like a big fool? I was so angry that I laughed instead. I took out my phone to notify the school to withdraw the sponsorship for Gu Jingqing. Unexpectedly, he took the initiative to say, "Su Ranran, if you don't give her the money, then I don't want your sponsorship either." What kind of threatening tone is this? It seems that his acceptance of my sponsorship is a charity to me, and he also wants me to be grateful. I was really blind in my previous life. How could I like a pretentious man like him who has no destiny of being a domineering CEO but is full of the domineering CEO disease? I found the remittance records I gave him in the past 2 years and endured the nausea. Gu Jingqing, if you're a man with a bit of backbone, return the money you spent of mine. I'll give you a discount. It's a total of 800,000 yuan. 800,000 yuan. I'll pay you back 8 million yuan in 10 years. Gu Jingqing sneered disdainfully and continued to threaten me. However, Su Ranran, listen up. I'm only giving you this one chance. Miss it, and even if you kneel down and beg me, it won't work. I racked my brains but couldn't figure out where his honeydew confidence came from. Could he really think that after he topped the Forbes rich list in 10 years, he could just move his fingers and make my family go bankrupt? It's ridiculous. Does he really think he became the richest man by his own strength? Little does he know that it was all because of my family that he was promoted, provide raw materials, technical support, and connections to a dog, and the dog could also become the richest man. Not only does he not feel grateful, but he also fantasizes that I have to fawn over him like those sycophants, looking at his sinister-looking face as if he was saying, "If you don't fawn over me, I'll make you look good in 10 years. I rolled my eyes big time. I found someone to freeze his sponsorship card and wrote an IOU of 800,000 yuan. Gu Jingqing stamped his handprint stubbornly and viciously threw down a harsh word at me. "Don't you ever regret it," then hugged his childhood sweetheart and turned around to leave. I regret it. I regret raising this wide-eyed wolf in my previous life, and I'm even more afraid that he'll go back on his word and come to pester me again. #2. After school, I called the driver to pick me up. Just as I opened the car door, I was pushed hard from behind. I stumbled. If it weren't for a kind-hearted passer-by who helped me, I would have fallen heavily to the ground, holding back my anger. I fixed my eyes and saw that it was Gu Jingqing. He was pushing the tearful Song Shaowan into the car, and then he got in himself. The moment he closed the car door, he didn't forget to order me. Warner's mother was beaten into the hospital by the debt collectors. "The situation is not good, you take a taxi back." Then he turned around and ordered the driver, "Drive, go to the hospital." The driver uncle looked at him like he was a fool, and without saying a word, took out his phone to call the police. Gu Jingqing angrily kicked the back of the passenger seat hard. "Drive, if you delay Aunt Song's condition, you can't afford the consequences." The driver uncle calmly took pictures of his criminal evidence, then turned off the engine and got out of the car, directly locking the two of them in the car. Two lunatics suddenly broke into the car, damaged the leather seats, and scared my young lady. "I've controlled the two of them. Please, police comrades, come out immediately." I burst out laughing and folded my arms, watching Gu Jingqing show off his domineering CEO air in the car. Sure enough, without me, he was nothing. Song Shaowan was crying anxiously in the car, which made Gu Jingqing extremely. He took a deep breath and turned to look at me, looking like a warrior sacrificing his dignity for love. "Su Ranran, I can accept your sponsorship, but don't fantasize that I'll like you. Don't. I don't want Brother Gu to sacrifice so much for me." Song Shaowan pointed at my nose and cursed. "Su Ranran, you actually used such despicable means to force Brother Gu to be with you. Don't even think about it. I will never allow you to humiliate Brother Gu's dignity with money again. Stop talking, Warner. For you, I'm willing to do anything. Me, does anyone care about my life? I just funded a poor student to repay society. What's wrong with me?" Besides, I didn't like Gu Jingqing until 3 years later. Why do the two of them act like star-crossed lovers who have been separated? At this time, the police uncle came and directly invited the two of them out. Gu Jingqing's face was dark as he stared at me and asked, "Su Ranran, what do you mean, using this way to attract my attention? You're so childish." I gestured towards my head to the police uncle and whispered, "They're mentally ill. It's recommended to send them to the hospital directly." Then, I smiled and told Gu Jingqing, "It doesn't mean anything. I just asked the police uncle to send you two to the hospital." The police uncle looked at them suspiciously, dressed shabbily but acting so arrogant and looking down on everyone. They really didn't seem normal. "You two want to go to the hospital?" "Yes." The police uncle suddenly understood. "Oh. Then get in the car, I'll take you there." As for which hospital they were sent to, I have no idea. Just in the middle of the night when I woke up, seeing 56 missed calls and 99 plus WeChat messages from Gu Jingqing, I knew they didn't go to a proper hospital. Half an hour ago, the last text message Gu Jingqing sent me was, "Answer my call within 3 minutes, or else bear the consequences." He was having another bout of domineering CEO disease again. I yawned and directly turned off my phone to sleep. ####3. The next day, during the school sports meeting, when I went to the cafeteria to carry water, I saw Gu Jingqing and Song Xiaowan having a meal. I heard that the two of them were locked up in the psychiatric department for a whole night, and finally the school came forward to bail them out. The monitor quietly came up to my ear and complained, "I thought they were quite normal before. How did they suddenly get sick?" Last night, Gu Jingqing called all the classmates in the class, saying that he was the future richest man. As long as they could gather 500 yuan to ransom him now, he would repay them 100 times in 10 years. This is even more overstep than the last time when the first emperor called to appoint me as a general in a telecom fraud. I sprayed out a mouthful of water directly, so there were more victims than I expected. Last night, my dad and all the managers in the company whose names I could remember received calls from Gu Jingqing. He said he had a cooperation project that was sure to make a fortune, as long as they could get him out of the psychiatric department. My dad was so scared that he held an emergency meeting with Panda Eyes in the morning, speculating whether a hacker had leaked the company's secrets. Otherwise, how could a lunatic call their internal phone numbers? This really can't be blamed on Gu Jingqing. He was an orphan since he was a child and had no relatives to rely on. He finally had a little childhood sweetheart, but her mother was a gambling addict. The two of them had no money at all, so of course they had to target the people around me. This life, I don't want to have any more dealings with them. I wanted to leave, but the monitor excitedly pulled me back, motioning for me to continue watching the show. Gu Jingqing was having another bout of illness again. He held a glass of orange juice in his hand and kept shaking it like he was shaking red wine. Looking at the 15 yuan steak in front of him, a sarcastic arc appeared at the corner of his mouth. "This kind of trash also dares to be called food. Throw it on the ground, and even a dog won't eat it." "Brother Gu, I know you look down on this kind of cheap stuff, but you've been hungry for a day. You should at least eat something." Gu Jingqing snorted coldly. "Even if I starve to death, this kind of trash doesn't deserve to enter my stomach." The cafeteria owner who was frying the steak had a hot temper. He chopped a knife on the chopping block. "You two used a coupon to order the cheapest steak here. It's okay to ask me to give an extra serving of spaghetti, but you're still being picky. Eat if you can, and get out if you can't. What kind of status do you have to talk to me like this? Believe it or not, I can make your store close down with just one phone call." Song Xiaowan anxiously tried to persuade him. "Brother Gu, don't be like this. Their small business is not easy either." The monitor, who had been watching the show the whole time, pinched his thigh hard, but still couldn't help laughing. This laugh didn't matter, and it successfully attracted Gu Jingqing's attention. The moment he looked at me, the hairs on his arms suddenly stood up. I didn't even have time to carry the mineral water. I turned around and ran, but unfortunately, I still didn't escape. I was blocked at the end of the corridor by Gu Jingqing, who was red-eyed and with his hands on his hips. "Su Ranran, you can't afford the price of angering me." I looked up at the sky speechlessly. What kind of sin had I committed to suffer this inhumane torture? "What? Are you jealous when you see me with Wanner? You came up with this way to take revenge on me. Su Ranran, this is all you're capable of. However, I advise you to save it and put away those little tricks to seduce me. I've already made a private engagement with Wanner. It's absolutely impossible for me to be with you. Stay away from us two in the future. If I find out that you have any improper thoughts again, I won't let you go." I tried hard to recall how I fell in love with Gu Jingqing in my previous life. At that time, he wasn't the key person my family was cultivating. There were many people who were more outstanding and promising than him. But I just thought Gu Jingqing was different and extraordinary. Now I find that he's really not a normal person. I interrupted his confident speech and mercilessly exposed him. You're really smart to use this way to skip the bill. Don't think I didn't notice that Gu Jingqing secretly stuffed several pieces of beef into his mouth. He staged such a big show because he didn't have the money to pay for the meal and didn't want to lose face. The cafeteria has a rule that poor students can wash dishes to offset the meal cost, but how could Gu Jingqing, who had been the richest man for a lifetime, lower his face to wash dishes in the back kitchen? Of course, he would push it all to Song Xiaowan to do, and I was just the best tool person for him to skip the bill. Gu Jingqing, whose thoughts were exposed by me, became angry from embarrassment and punched the wall behind me. I kindly reminded him, there are surveillance cameras here. Dare to touch a single hair of mine, and the money you owe me will double. In 10 years, don't talk about 10 years, you won't even last 10 days before you starve to death. My naked sarcasm completely hurt Gu Jingqing's sensitive and fragile self-esteem. He let go of me and, in extreme anger, laughed instead. Then let's wait and see. ####4. The school sports meeting was undoubtedly the best opportunity for Gu Jingqing to turn things around. On this day, the school would invite business tycoons to visit. Every poor student would actively participate in the competitions. If they performed well, they would be selected to get the opportunity to be sponsored. Gu Jingqing was the long-distance running champion every year, and his academic performance was always in the top 3 in the school. Soon, he attracted the attention of a real estate tycoon. The head teacher immediately pulled Gu Jingqing over and praised him to the skies. Mr. Li, this classmate Gu is a top-notch student who can definitely get into Tsinghua University. Sponsoring him is definitely the right choice. In the previous life, Gu Jingqing did get into Tsinghua University, but he wasn't a good student, but a disaster, the kind that whoever gets involved with him will have bad luck. Mr. Li nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. From now on, our company will sponsor you 5,000 yuan per month until you graduate from university. 5,000 yuan. Gu Jingqing's face immediately fell. Are you humiliating me with 5,000 yuan? Classmate, 5,000 yuan is not a small amount. It's enough for your daily expenses at school. He looked down his nose and sneered sarcastically. The real estate industry is in decline and doesn't have much room for development in the future. I reluctantly accept your sponsorship, but you only give me 5,000 yuan. How can I form a team and do research in the future? I'm different from those poor students who just muddle along and stretch out their hands for money. In the future, I'm going to lead the team to the top of international technology. If you can't afford to sponsor me, then make way for others. After saying that, regardless of Mr. Li's face turning purplish with anger, he turned around and left. The head teacher was furious and called out to him, Gu Jingqing. He turned around, with his hands in his pockets. In the future, don't recommend companies in sunset industries like this to me. The people who sponsor me should at least have a net worth higher than Su Ranran's parents. I will review their qualifications one by one. Those who don't meet the standards have no right to sponsor me. His words made Mr. Li extremely angry. No matter how the principal and the head teacher apologized, he firmly refused to sponsor the poor students in our school anymore. This also directly implicated 2 other innocent classmates. The twin sisters who had grown up with their grandparents since childhood were so excited that they cried when they heard that a company was willing to sponsor them to go to college. But because of Gu Jingqing's actions, the opportunity was gone, and the 2 sisters squatted on the ground crying bitterly. I couldn't stand it anymore and stepped forward to comfort them. It doesn't matter. Su's group is willing to sponsor you. Really. Is 10,000 yuan per person per month enough? No, that's too much. 2,000 yuan for the 2 of us per month is enough. The 2 sisters knelt on the ground and kowtowed to me. Thank you, my sister, and I will definitely repay your great kindness after we graduate from college. Look, there are still grateful people in the world. After the school sports meeting, the class held a dinner party. As 2 penniless parasites, it was no surprise that they came to freeload. Gu Jingqing didn't pay a single cent but sat in the main seat. Being picky about everything, the decoration was bad, the service was bad, and the dishes were bad. He might as well have written the word disdain on his face. The head teacher and the classmates were almost annoyed to death by them. During the day, Gu Jingqing not only angered an investor but also made our class lose 2 medals that we should have won. The reason was that Song Xiaowan fell while doing the long jump and scraped her knee. Gu Jingqing, who was still participating in the relay long-distance race, suddenly threw away the relay baton, picked up Song Xiaowan, and rushed into the infirmary. He even threatened the school doctor, "If you can't cure her, I'll hold you accountable." Seeing that we all ignored him, Gu Jingqing, who was used to being the center of attention, couldn't sit still. He poured the beer he had taken a sip of directly into the grilled fish plate in front of him. Then tapped his fingers on the table and coldly asked, "Who chose this place? The taste is so bad." Gu Jingqing knew very well that this restaurant was owned by my family and was deliberately trying to make things difficult for me. The monitor couldn't stand it anymore and retorted, "Classmate Gu, we all think this place is very good. Do you have any dissatisfaction?" "Good," Gu Jingqing sneered. "Have you ever seen a really good restaurant? It's a pity that you'll never get to see it in your life." Song Shawan also chimed in, "Some people are just born with a poor and shabby fate. Brother Gu, don't argue with them. They'll never be able to catch up with you in their lives." One was bragging hard, and the other was flattering hard. The two of them were really a match made in heaven. I held down the monitor's hand, which was shaking with anger, and smiled. The future richest man surely doesn't need us poor people to chip in for the meal, right? Then, I'll trouble the richest man to pay the bill for today's class dinner. I put the bill in front of him, and Gu Jingqing took a look but didn't say anything. I immediately exclaimed, 3,000 yuan is nothing to classmate Gu, right? Not to mention 3,000 yuan, Gu Jingqing couldn't even find 30 yuan on him. He knew I was deliberately belittling him. But for the sake of his richest man face, he took the bill and went out, dragging Song Shawan beside him. When they came back, the heirloom jade pendant around Song Shawan's neck was gone. She glared at me viciously, as if I was the one who had sold her heirloom to show off. Just then, a group of uninvited guests burst into the party, ###5. Without saying a word, they grabbed Song Shawan and dragged her out. Judging from their appearance and attire, they looked like hooligans. And they were swearing foully, "Your mother owes us usury. If you don't pay it back today, don't blame us brothers for being rude. That's what my mother owes you. Go find her. I'm just a student. I don't have any money." Song Shawan's face turned pale with fright, and she tightly grabbed the table corner, refusing to let go. After all, they were classmates. Several boys in the class wanted to save her, but they were forced back by the hooligans brandishing knives. The leader of the hooligans waved Song Shawan's student ID in front of her and said that her mother had escaped from the hospital that morning. Before leaving, she left a letter saying that the daughter should pay off the mother's debt and that she was giving Song Shawan to them to pay off the debt. I suddenly remembered that in the previous life, Song Shawan sold her kidney and even blackmailed me. Presumably, she was also forced by her mother. However, a poor person must have something hateful about them. She should never have killed me in order to cling to Gu Jingqing. This big tree. Just as Song Shawan was being forcibly dragged away, she suddenly shouted, "I have money. I have money. My boyfriend is the future richest man. He promised me that he would definitely pay off the debt for me." Future richest man. Seeing that the hooligans didn't believe it, she quickly assured them, "Really? My boyfriend will be very rich in the future. This little gambling debt is nothing to him. Look, he's here." Everyone followed Song Shawan's gaze. There was only a poor student in shabby clothes, whose whole outfit was worth less than 2,000 yuan, coming out of the bathroom. He even boasted, "Her mother only owes you more than 1 million yuan, I'll pay it back for her." Then he turned around and borrowed a pen and paper from the waiter and skillfully wrote down his name. Just like signing a check in the previous life, "In 10 years, I'll pay you back 10 times the principal and interest." The hooligans laughed angrily and directly tore the IOU into pieces and threw them in Gu Jingqing's face. TSK. I felt embarrassed for him at this scene. Seeing that the hooligans didn't appreciate it, Gu Jingqing singled me out from the onlookers. "Su Ran, pay off this money for her, and I'll consider being your boyfriend. Me, I can let you have my person. But my heart will always belong to Wanner, brother Gu." "Don't." Gu Jingqing closed his eyes, as if determined to sacrifice himself, and grabbed my shoulders, about to force a kiss. I instinctively slapped him, endured the nausea, and cursed, "Are you crazy? When did I say I liked you?" Gu Jingqing turned his head, poked his swollen left cheek with his tongue, and sneered, "Pretend all you want. In the previous life, you were crazy about me. Please, when you were reborn. Bring some brains with you." "Okay, in the previous life, I did like you, but that was also 3 years later. Now, I don't know you well. Don't come looking for a beating." "Sure enough, you also have memories of the previous life." Gu Jingqing wasn't the least bit surprised. After all, the three of us died together in the previous life. Since both he and Song Shawan were reborn, there was no reason for me to be an exception. "That's great. No need for me to prove anything. If you obediently take out the money, in 10 years, I'll ensure the safety of your family. Otherwise, you know what the consequences of angering me are. Gu Jingqing had always been vengeful. The first thing he did after becoming the richest man was to get rid of those who had bullied him. But don't forget, without me, you can't become the richest man in this life. Oh, really? ####6. I rolled my eyes helplessly, afraid of getting into trouble. I turned around and quickly fled the scene. Gu Jingqing was still chasing after me, threatening, "Su Ranran, I promise you will pay a heavy price for your wrong decision today." Later, I heard the story of what happened after I left that day from the monitor. In order to get away, Gu Jingqing told the debt collectors that he had a connection with their boss. In the previous life, their boss had fawned over him to make money, but unfortunately, he didn't take a fancy to him. In this life, as long as they showed him some face and wiped out the debt, in 10 years, he would surely lead them to do business and make a fortune. As a result, they thought he was crazy and directly beat him up. If the monitor hadn't secretly called the police, the two of them would have been thrown into the Huangpu River to feed the fish. The monitor directed the classmates to move Gu Jingqing and Song Xiaowan's desks out. He said, "These two dropped out of school. They said they were going to start a business and make a fortune." I knew about this. A few days ago, Gu Jingqing sent me a WeChat message to provoke me, saying that he would soon make me lose everything and asking me if I regretted it in the previous life. If you hadn't brought people to catch us cheating and had turned a blind eye to Wanner's existence, maybe you could have always been the richest man's wife. It's a pity that you just couldn't tolerate her. I replied to him. Who do you think you are? You still want to keep a mistress outside. Do you deserve it? Huh, now it seems that Wanner is indeed more suitable to be the richest man's wife than you. Get lost, you gigolo. In the previous life, I knew that Gu Jingqing secretly embezzled public funds to buy a luxury house and cars for Song Xiaowan and that the two of them plotted to kill me. I endured it to find the evidence to make him leave the house penniless. After I firmly held the real power, I went to expose the true features of this adulterous couple. At that time, Song Xiaowan was already 6 months pregnant and was racking her brains to force me out. Seeing me come to catch them cheating, she was still looking smug. But when the lawyer announced that Gu Jingqing wouldn't get a single cent, Song Xiaowan couldn't sit still. She secretly turned on the gas in the kitchen and, taking me by surprise, pushed me in, trying to silence me. At the moment before the gas explosion, I dragged the two of them in with me, one in each hand, with their 3 lives as my companions in death. No matter how you calculate it, I didn't lose. In this life, I didn't want to have any more dealings with them. But since Gu Jingqing insisted on tearing his face off with me, there was nothing I could do. 3 days later, I went to the business incubation base with my father and saw Gu Jingqing. He dropped out of school and settled here, wanting to replicate the path to success in the previous life. But how could it be that easy? Which company would trust a high school dropout? In the previous life, he had a Tsinghua University degree and my recommendation. He could stand on the podium and tell those busy CEOs his ideas. But in this life, he didn't even have the qualification to enter the door. He even sneaked in by bribing the security guard. Gu Jingqing was extremely proud when he saw me and deliberately hid his business plan behind his back. I won't cooperate with Su's group. No matter who I cooperate with, Su Ranran, give up. Is it possible that I'm here to invest in someone else? I'm not interested in him at all. ###7. In fact, in the previous life, my father valued my senior, Su Yi, the most. He was also a top-notch graduate from Tsinghua University. He was low-key, reliable in handling things, and much more mature in thinking than Gu Jingqing. My father intended to match us up and cultivate him to be the successor. Unfortunately, in the previous life, the person I liked wasn't him. Sui could only reluctantly become the vice president of the group. It can be said that Gu Jingqing was only the richest man in name, while the real person in power of the group was Sui. Because of me, he had been wronged for too long. In this life, I will return the glory that belongs to him. After just half an hour of his speech, my father decided to invest in him. After the event, Sui specifically found me to thank me. I heard that it was your strong recommendation that convinced Chairman Su to come and listen to my speech in person. Thank you. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid I wouldn't have had such a good opportunity. I waved my hand in shame. Actually, I didn't do much. It's just that you're excellent yourself. In the previous life, in order to help Gu Jingqing, I took away this opportunity for Sui to shine. It made him waste several years in an ordinary position. Fortunately, he was hard-working and enterprising enough to seize another opportunity. Otherwise, I would have been guilty. This time, I returned the opportunity to him, and Sui quickly made great progress in his career and became my father's right-hand man. I also successfully got into Tsinghua University and entered Suyi's research team. Later, Song Shaowan specifically came to the school to find me and showed off in front of me. Brother Gu has already secured investment, although 5 million yuan is a bit less. This is just the first step for him to become the richest man. I believe that in less than 10 years, he will return to his original position. Then she looked at me contemptuously and said, "You were the richest man's wife for so long. In this life, it's my turn to enjoy the blessings. Don't worry, this blessing is all yours." Before Gu Jingqing could show off in front of me in person, bad news came. Gu Jingqing was cheated. They just gave him a little sweetener, and then they cheated him out of everything. His patent was bought for 1 yuan, his core business ideas were plagiarized, and even the original website he finally set up was attacked and gone. After several consecutive business failures, Gu Jingqing couldn't sit still. He came to the school to block me. "Su Ranran, was it you who did this? Are you afraid that I'll succeed in my business and that I'll take revenge on you?" I blinked, looking innocent. Senior Sui stood in front of me and kindly reminded him, "Are you classmate Gu? I've heard about you. Your business ideas and concepts are correct. But the world is full of dangers. You should be more careful in the future." "Is it your turn to speak, Sui? In the previous life, you were just a dog working for me. Who are you pretending to be? Get out of the way." Gu Jingqing always thought that becoming the richest man was all his own credit and had nothing to do with me or Sui, but he was wrong. Without the two of us, the position of the richest man would never have fallen to him. Sui grabbed his hand forcefully, not allowing him to get close to me, under the gold-rimmed glasses. Suyi's dark eyes were filled with cold, sharp glints. "Come to trouble Ranran again, and don't blame me for being rude to you." Then he personally escorted him out of the school. ###8. In the previous life, with my protection, Gu Jingqing's business path was too smooth. It made him forget how cold and dark the world was. Even though he had memories of the previous life and a vision for future emerging industries, it wasn't easy for him to succeed in starting a business. Well, he was cheated again. Driven by eagerness for quick success and greed for profit, Gu Jingqing successfully fell into a fraud group. The monitor noticed something was wrong and kindly called the police for him. 3 months later, Gu Jingqing was bailed out. That day, the police called me and asked me to cooperate with them in the investigation. The police uncle asked me what messages Gu Jingqing had sent me in the past few months. I honestly opened the chat records for them to see. "Su Ranran. For the sake of our past feelings, as long as you transfer 500,000 yuan to me, I'll forgive you without holding a grudge. Su Ranran, I'm only 300,000 yuan short of a successful business start-up. I promise I won't take revenge on you when I become the richest man. Su Ranran, transfer 100,000 yuan to me, and I'll immediately make you the vice president. Su Ranran, transfer 50,000 yuan to me." The police uncle was trying very hard not to laugh. I also felt very speechless. Just as I was about to leave, the police told me that Gu Jingqing was involved in fraud and might go to jail, and he wanted to see me. I didn't want to go, but the police persuaded me that Gu Jingqing was very stubborn. Only if I went would he truthfully report all the facts. To save more people who were deceived by telecom fraud, I went. Gu Jingqing no longer had his former arrogance and high profile. He just sat silently on the chair, his hands handcuffed, when he saw me. It took him a long time to calm down his emotions. He said, "Ranran, I'm sorry." I asked him questions as the police asked, "When you first entered the fraud group, didn't you notice anything wrong?" He smiled bitterly. "From the first day I entered, I knew there was something wrong with this place, but I didn't want to admit that the once richest man had actually fallen to such a state. Ranran, now I finally realize that I'm a useless person who can do nothing. Without you, I'm nothing. But I also have my self-esteem." I didn't want to admit it, and I was even more afraid that if I admitted it, I would really never be able to stand up again. I tried my best to prove myself and make achievements to show you, but it turned out that I'm really a waste. Ranran, actually, I early realized that the person I love is you, but in the previous life, no matter how high I climbed, you never admired me. It seemed that everything was within your plan. I'm a man. I need to be admired by a woman. Song Shaowan is better at being a woman than you. She likes me and holds me up high. I really enjoyed the way she looked up to me. That's all. On that day, when you brought people to break into the house where Song Shaowan and I were, my first reaction was to save you. As long as you forgave me and pretended that nothing had happened, we could still live a happy life. But you just wanted to divorce me and make me leave the house penniless. That gas explosion was Song Shaowan's own will. I never wanted to hurt you. Never. After realizing that I was reborn, I didn't deliberately get so close to Song Shawan, it's just, I was angry with you. After all, if you really loved me, you wouldn't have dragged me to death at the last moment. I picked my ears and asked him if he had finished. If so, I was leaving. Senior Sui had a new project that was short of people, and I couldn't stay outside for too long. Especially not waste time listening to others talk nonsense. At this time, Song Shawan suddenly appeared from nowhere. She pushed me away forcefully, and with tears all over her face, she roared at Gu Jingqing, "You actually lied to me. I'm your savior in the previous life. Without my kidney, you would have died long ago. You promised to be with me for a lifetime and make a fortune to pay off my mother's gambling debts. But you took the real estate certificate left to me by my father and disappeared. Where's the money? Give me back the money, you liar." "Savior, I paid for that kidney. You were going to sell it to someone anyway. It just so happened that you sold it to me. In the previous life, I bought you luxury houses, luxury cars, and took you traveling. You weren't satisfied. You even wanted to be the richest man's wife. You killed Ranran and me. In this life, you made me drop out of school early. If it weren't for you egging me on, I wouldn't have entered this fraud company at all. Now that I'm going to jail, you won't have a good time either. Police, I want to report that this vicious woman, Song Shawan, is also a member of the fraud group. She sent me in." "Shut up, you gigolo. After flattering you a few times, you really think you're the richest man, looking at your pretentious appearance of acting rich when you're broke. I'm so disgusted that I want to vomit. I warn you. If you don't return the real estate certificate and the heirloom jade pendant to me, I'll make sure you stay in jail forever." "Police, I want to report, the amount of Gu Jingqing's crimes is more than that. I hadn't had enough of watching this dog-eat-dog show when Song Shawan rushed out to report to the police, for fear that if she was a second late, Gu Jingqing wouldn't be able to sit through the prison term." Gu Jingqing looked at me eagerly and begged me, "Ranran, for the sake of our past life as husband and wife, can you help me? I know that as long as you take action, I can spend a few years less in prison. Do you know how many families will be torn apart by telecom fraud? Gu Jingqing, you deserve all of this. Go and receive reform in prison." ###9. Gu Jingqing's judgment was handed down, and he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Since that day, Song Shawan had disappeared. It was said that one day she went to the police in a battered state to report that her gambling-addicted mother had sold her to a rich old man with special hobbies as a pet. She couldn't take it anymore and begged the police to save her. At first, the police would go out to check, but the old man took out their marriage certificate and the testimony of Song Shawan's mother in court. In the end, it was determined as a family conflict and the case was closed. Later, there was no news of Song Shawan anymore. The day Gu Jingqing was released from prison happened to be our class reunion. He came, but he didn't show up. He just stood in the distance, took a look at me, and then turned around and fled. After 3 years in prison, he no longer had the look of his former self. He was emaciated, with sunken eyes. He was wearing a washed-out sweatshirt and wrapped his whole head in a hat. When a passer-by walked by, he would subconsciously step aside. I saw him through the window. He was staring fixedly at Sui beside me. His eyes were filled with envy, jealousy, and unwillingness, because at this time, Sui had already become the richest man in Asia. In the previous life, it took Gu Jingqing 10 years to reach the position of the richest man, while Sui only took 3 short years. Although he had the help of my family, he was also hard-working and enterprising. My father had intended to match us up, but I really only regarded him as a brother. Sui didn't force me. Instead, he respected my wishes and doted on me. The twin sisters I had sponsored in the past had also become my most powerful assistants. Although they graduated from an ordinary second-tier university, they were diligent, studious, and grateful. They not only brought the grandparents who had raised them to live in the city but also refused offers from major famous enterprises for my sake. I believe that one day, with their help, I will build my own business empire step by step. Story 2. After being reborn, my elder sister decisively exchanged her fiancé with mine. She said, "I'll leave the Buddhist prodigy of the Beijing Circle to you. I'll marry the young master of the prince's family in the Beijing Circle." In the previous life, she married the aloof Buddhist prodigy, but she never expected that he was born with a sickly and delicate personality. She couldn't stand it and chose to cheat. Then she was imprisoned by him for a lifetime and finally died of depression. But I often went in and out of high-end occasions. With the power and influence of the young master of the prince's family, everyone envied me. Looking at her crazy and triumphant smile, I let out a sigh of relief. Compared with the young master of the prince's family who flirts around and sacrifices his wife for glory, I really love the sickly but dedicated Buddhist prodigy. 1. I was reborn. Reborn to 1 minute before choosing a fiancé for the arranged marriage. Our family had once arranged a baby betrothal for my elder sister and me. Now it was time to choose our fiancés. My socialite elder sister's eyes were filled with shock and joy. The moment the elders finished speaking, she let out a shrill laugh. Dad, Mom, I want to choose the young master of the Leon family in the Beijing circle. I want to marry into the Leon family. I instantly understood that she was also reborn. She wanted to encroach on my life. My parents frowned. Ruoro. Have you really thought this through? The Leon family has lost several lawsuits and is not as powerful as before. Didn't you always like the young master of the Fu family, who is very capable? My elder sister beamed with joy. The young master of the Leon family has the ability to sort out everything. Don't worry, I'll have a good life. These words confirmed my suspicion. The reason why my elder sister cried and made a fuss to marry Liang Yiming was that she was afraid of ending up being imprisoned to death just like in the previous life. In the previous life, she took the initiative first and chose the cold and noble Buddhist prodigy in the Beijing circle, Fu Ruqing. She successfully became the young mistress of the Fu family as she wished, before she had enough of the wealthy life she had dreamed of. My elder sister was sent to a temple on the mountain for spiritual cultivation. The precepts were strict, the food was plain. On the mountain, there were only the sounds of wooden fish and bells, not to mention the bold, holy monk and enchanting woman play she wanted. Fu Ruqing never touched her at all. My elder sister was used to the colorful world. How could she be patient enough to live a boring life? With a phone call, she called 2 of her ex-boyfriends to play with her. When the 3 of them were having a good time, other monks heard the commotion and caught them in bed on the spot. It was said that Fu Ruqing was so disgusted that he went into seclusion immediately, according to his oral order. My elder sister was confined to a villa at the foot of the mountain for lifelong spiritual cultivation and finally died of depression. Fu Ruqing didn't abuse her, except for not allowing her to go in and out of nightclubs and bars to find young men. He didn't do anything too excessive. But my elder sister was jealous that I could go in and out of high-end places with the young master of the Leon family. In the end, she even developed a heart problem from pent-up emotions. No wonder she chose the Leon family, which she looked down upon in the previous life. As soon as she was reborn, my elder sister felt my gaze, glared at me provocatively, and then pulled me into the bedroom. Don't even think about snatching the young master of the prince's family in the Beijing circle from me. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing you with my own hands. Pretending to be kind-hearted, I said, but the Leon family is facing difficulties now. Does sister really want to sacrifice herself? My elder sister raised her chin haughtily and had a contemptuous expression. It's none of your business. The Leon family will thrive. After saying that, she pushed me and said, you'd better care about yourself. I hope you can stand the life of a nun who lives like a widow for the rest of your life. Looking at her swaggering away, a smile reappeared on my face. Does she really think that the Leon family's resurgence depends on Liang Yiming, who is proficient in eating, drinking, whoring, and gambling? Liang Yiming is the kind of person who can send his own wife to someone else's bed with his own hands. Compared with the young master of the prince's family who flirts around and sacrifices his wife for glory, I really love the sickly but dedicated Buddhist prodigy. 2. Although my parents were helpless, they still agreed to my elder sister's choice. Then they turned their gaze to me. Tan, since your elder sister wants to marry into the Leon family, you will marry into the Fu family. They didn't give me a chance to object and casually finalized my marriage. My elder sister gloated. While putting on a thick nightclub makeup for herself, she sneered, Lin Tan, just accept your fate. Be careful that you'll be tied to a meditation cushion and have to kowtow for the rest of your life. I leaned close to her ear and whispered, Sister, I wish you won't be tied to the bed with chains and have to accompany guests nonstop in the future. She thought that exchanging marriages could exchange lives. Little did she know that the right to choose in life lies with oneself, not with a certain man. My elder sister was stunned. When she realized what I said, she wanted to slap me. I smiled and stepped back, putting on a decent smile. Mom, it's getting late. Didn't you say you called Ruqing? He'll come to pick me up soon. I'm going to change my clothes. After finalizing the marriage partners, my parents informed the Fu family and the Leon family respectively and euphemistically suggested that it would be best to cultivate some affection. The Fu family was only half an hour's drive from my home. Fu Ruqing said he would come to pick me up and go for a walk. As for Liang Yiming, he was probably indulging in some nightclub now, drunk and dreaming of a life of pleasure. He didn't even answer a single call. My elder sister's face changed slightly. She stared at me intently, wishing she could poke a hole in me. When I came out after changing my clothes, Fu Ruqing had also arrived. He sat beside my parents, expressionlessly discussing the details of the engagement ceremony preparation. He had a tall and straight nose, outstanding facial features. He was more good-looking than the celebrities on TV, and he exuded an air of calmness like a deep stream. No wonder my elder sister fell in love with him at first sight in the previous life. As soon as my elder sister saw Fu Ruqing, she was immediately fascinated. Her eyes almost stuck to him. Fu Ruqing changed to a position farther away from her, as if avoiding something dirty. The bright crystal lights illuminated his expression, but they couldn't light up those dark eyes, which showed no trace of light. My elder sister was so scared that she shuddered. Just as she was about to make up for it, I interrupted. Sister, what are you talking to my fiancé about? Hearing the word fiancé, my elder sister and Fu Ruqing both looked up at me. My elder sister's expression was beyond description. She seemed to want to devour me alive. But Fu Ruqing just looked at me quietly, and a trace of inexplicable emotion flashed in his black eyes. I stepped forward and naturally took his arm. Mr. Fu, I'm ready, let's go. Fu Ruqing's gaze shifted to the hand holding his arm, and he replied with a faint "3. It was not until we reached the car that I let go of his arm and said sincerely, Mr. Fu, thank you. My parents were bent on selling me as capital, and I had already had enough of this suffocating home. If Fu Ruqing hadn't come to pick me up, I would never have been able to escape from their clutches. Why are you thanking me? Aren't we fiancés? Fu Ruqing looked at me quietly. His gaze made me feel a little at a loss and a little flustered. Okay, what's mine is yours. You're welcome. Haven't you had dinner? I'll take you to a restaurant. Touching my slightly empty stomach, I nodded. I had thought that Fu Ruqing would take me to a vegetarian restaurant or something, but unexpectedly, he drove me to a Western restaurant. It was the one I usually liked to eat at the most. Mr. Fu, did we go the wrong way? I couldn't help but put my hands together. This is a sin. Isn't this defiling his belief? But Fu Ruqing shook his head. It's okay. Buddhism emphasizes only cultivating oneself. I've already eaten at home. Just order whatever you want to eat. I couldn't decline. After sitting down, I ordered a salad and spaghetti with vegetarian sauce. Fu Ruqing said, Is that all you're going to eat? I nodded. This is enough. I'm not picky about food. In fact, after experiencing the days in the previous life when I was tied up like a dog by Liang Yiming, it's already good enough to have something to eat. Fu Ruqing looked at me, and I didn't know what he was thinking. After I finished eating and put down the knife and fork, he calmly said, After we get married, please be sure to remain loyal to the marriage and fulfill your marital obligations. I will give you everything you want. Marital obligations. My mind went blank, and I blurted out without thinking, Aren't you a monk? Fu Ruqing corrected me. I'm a lay Buddhist. I silently complained. Then why do everyone call you the Buddhist prodigy? I thought. I didn't know if it was an illusion, but I saw him smile. My heart suddenly started pounding. Somehow, I reached out and touched his eyebrows and eyes. The moment my fingers touched his skin, I realized what I had done and quickly withdrew my hand, but it was a step too late. Fu Ruqing was stunned and instinctively grabbed my hand, holding it tightly and refusing to let go. I'm really sorry. I felt desperate and wished I could slap myself twice. Lin Tan, how could you be bewitched by a man's appearance and do such a crazy thing on impulse? Fortunately, Fu Ruqing didn't care about my abruptness. His lips moved slightly. It's okay. When he sent me back home, we both tacitly forgot what had just happened. Before getting out of the car, I joked, Mr. Fu, I heard that Buddhism emphasizes the word fate. In your opinion, do we have fate? I thought he wouldn't answer this question. Unexpectedly, he nodded and said calmly, Yes. It started from the previous life. It was my turn to be silent. How could I have had a relationship with him in the previous life? The unbearable experiences of the previous life are still vivid in my mind. A person can't forget important things, just like one can never forget hatred. I didn't take it seriously and didn't refute. I just smiled. Then I will definitely cherish this fate, until I turned around and walked into the gate. When I casually looked back, I still found that the car lights were shining faintly white in the dark night. Fu Ruqing hadn't left yet. My heart skipped a beat. Just as I was about to turn back to find him, my elder sister blocked me at the door. My elder sister had a ferocious expression on her face, and her lips were as red as if she had eaten a dead child. Lin Tan, you shameless slut. After saying that, she wanted to pull my hair. You seduced Fu Ruqing. I'll kill you. Looking at my elder sister's crazy appearance, I almost burst out laughing. I sidestepped to avoid her attack, making her fall to the ground and eat dirt. I covered my mouth and took a few steps back. Sister, Why are you performing such a big courtesy when it's not a festival? Although the Fu family has power and influence, you don't have to fawn on me like this, do you? Every word hit her right in the heart. The reason why my elder sister chose the Liang family was that she was blinded by the apparent wealth and prosperity in her heart. She still regarded Fu Ruching as her own possession and was daydreaming about having the best of both worlds, not to mention that I'm Fu Ruching's fiancé in this life. Even if I were an insignificant stranger, I wouldn't stand by and watch a person like my elder sister harm good people. After laughing enough, I continued, are you feeling lonely at home? You can go to bars and nightclubs more often. Maybe the young master you've been longing for is dancing in some singing and dancing hall. My elder sister didn't know the true nature of Liang Yiming. Thinking that I was belittling her fiancé, she had a look of hatred on her face. Shut up. Do you even deserve to be compared with me? I hope you can still laugh when you're locked in the temple and eating chaff and vegetables. By then, I'll become the Mrs. Liang wearing gold and silver. Even if you kneel on the ground and beg me, I won't show mercy. After saying that, she got up resentfully from the ground and turned back to the bedroom. I leaned against the stairs casually and opened my phone to look at today's economic evening news. TSK. The Liang family stock has dropped another 10 points. I hope it can hold out until the day my elder sister marries into the Liang family. 5. The next day, after Liang Yiming sobered up, he learned who his fiancée was and rushed to my home to admit his mistake and apologize. He talked nonsense seriously, uncle and aunt. I had social engagements last night and accidentally got drunk and lost my memory, but don't worry, our family's business is gradually getting back on track. When Ruorwo marries me, the crisis will definitely be resolved easily. I rolled my eyes silently. The debt crisis will of course be resolved easily. In addition to the dowry worth tens of millions that can relieve the urgent need, Liang Yiming will also force his future wife to accompany guests and drink, satisfying the perverted tastes of the upper class. For those in the upper class, it's not difficult to find young and beautiful girls to torture. The difficult thing is to find playthings from a higher social background. Perhaps only in this way can they enjoy the so-called pleasure of conquest. In the previous life, Liang Yiming seized the opportunity and sent me out as a favor, making me suffer a lot of abuse. Finally, he got the opportunity to turn the tables. The high-end banquets that seemed so glorious in my elder sister's eyes were just the entrances that pushed me into the abyss again and again. My elder sister was completely unaware of the tragic fate that awaited her. She was elated and whispered in my ear, Lin Tan, just wait. Anyway, you're destined to live like a widow. After you're abandoned, I'll definitely find a few men to play with you until you're completely ruined. You always put on this deadpan face. Let's see if Fu Ruching will still want you then. I curled my lips into a sarcastic smile and raised my arm. Slap. I interrupted my elder sister's endless cursing and also interrupted the conversation between Liang Yiming and my parents in the living room. This slap directly stunned my elder sister, and she burst into tears. Dad, Mom, and my dear, look, Lin Tan is bullying me. My father comforted my elder sister and then said sternly, Tan, what are you doing? Hurry up and apologize to your elder sister. My parents have always been partial to my elder sister. In the previous life, when they saw that I was in a desperate situation, they not only refused to take me home but even mocked me. A married daughter is like spilled water. You have to do whatever Liang Yiming asks you to do. If you want to be clean, then go and die. Won't everything be clean if you're dead? However, when my elder sister was caught cheating, my parents rushed to the Fu family in a hurry to plead for mercy. Although it was ultimately ineffective, the contrast was really disheartening. After being reborn, I have seen many things clearly. For example, now, it's not me who should die, but these heartless people who are the beneficiaries. I squeezed out a few tears. Dad, do you know what sister just said? She actually said that she wanted me to sleep with men. Listen to this. Is this something a person would say? At the same time, I paid attention to observing Liang Yiming's expression. Sure enough, a gloomy look covered Liang Yiming's eyebrows, and his gaze towards my elder sister was tinged with hostility. He never expected that the secret plan would be revealed. My elder sister refused to admit it and tried her best to smear me. She's lying. I didn't say that. I had expected her to quibble. I opened the voice recording app on my phone and clicked play. Just as the sentence, find a few men to play with you until you're completely ruined, was played, the butler rushed in nervously. Something's wrong, sir and madam. Young Master Fu suddenly arrived. I couldn't stop him no matter how hard I tried, and he has already barged in. Fu Ruching's figure was bathed in the morning sunlight, as if surrounded by a layer of sacred and inviolable holy light. However, his eyes were extremely cold, especially when he heard the last sentence of the recording. He gave everyone a cold and indifferent glance. My parents were sweating profusely and quickly greeted him, Ruching. You should have told us in advance that you were coming, so that Tantan could go out to welcome you. Fu Ruching avoided their affectionate touches and said straightforwardly, there's no need for pleasantries. What I want to ask is what Lin Rua just said. Ask her to repeat it. If Liang Yiming's mood was one of being angry and ashamed just now. Now he was filled with both fear and shock. He put on an innocent look and said with an embarrassed smile, Mr. Fu, it's all a misunderstanding. Let's talk things over properly. In response to him, Fu Ruching didn't hesitate to say a single word, get lost. The scene suddenly became quiet. Everyone knew that Fu Ruching was pure-hearted and had few desires, as indifferent as water. They had never heard him tell someone to get lost before, yet, he had immense power and influence. And no one could afford to provoke him or avoid him, except for me. No one had a pleasant expression on their face. In fact, I didn't really understand the current situation either. I had only met Fu Ruching at most twice. How could he be so angry on my behalf? Before I could think more, Fu Ruching had already walked up to me and pulled me into his arms. Lin Tan, don't be afraid, it's all right now. My nose was filled with the faint fragrance of the incense, which brought my thoughts back to a long, long time ago. An image flashed in my mind, but it vanished in an instant like flowing water. I tried to break free from his embrace, but unexpectedly, Fu Ruching pressed me back, so, I could only mumble in his arms, it's okay, I'm fine now. No matter what Liang Yiming and my elder sister said or did, I wouldn't be easily played by them anymore. How could a person who climbed out of hell be easily swayed by the words of scum? I smiled and looked at my elder sister. Sister, I presented the evidence, so, shouldn't you apologize? My elder sister refused to lower her noble head and kept hiding behind Liang Yiming. My father lost face. On the one hand, he didn't want to scold his precious eldest daughter, and on the other hand, he didn't dare to offend his two well-born sons-in-law, so, he vented all his anger on me. Lin Tan, are you done? Stop making trouble and go upstairs to your room right away. See? It's always like this. I had long since given up hope in them and just found it ridiculous, so, I said calmly, I'm not done yet, but I don't plan to play with you either. Don't you like Lin Rua? Then accompany her and put on a good show of fatherly kindness and daughterly filial piety. Ignoring my parents' surprised shouts, I strode out of the villa. 7. Except for Fu Ruching who chased after me, no one else showed up. I'd bet that my elder sister was absolutely overjoyed right now. No one would snatch Liang Yiming, who she had set her eyes on, and all of the Lin family's hundreds of millions of family fortune would belong to her. On the surface, a happy and fulfilling life seemed to be beckoning to her. But I knew that the Lin family was far from being as glorious as it seemed on the surface. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in such a hurry to marry off their daughters for marriage alliances. It wouldn't be long before the Lin family declared bankruptcy due to heavy debts. In the previous life, my parents didn't hesitate to pass on the debts to me and went abroad to live a good life with the assets they had already transferred. My elder sister didn't know the truth about the bankruptcy and harbored hatred towards me, thinking that I had inherited the family business. Since she envied me, I might as well have the opportunity and give her this mess of the Lin family. Fu Ruching followed me unhurriedly, as if worried that I might do something stupid. I simply sat down on a bench by the roadside and smiled. Don't worry, I'm fine now. Fu Ruching sat beside me and turned his head to look at me. He didn't say anything, and just sitting there quietly was already very good. I closed my eyes, and bits and pieces of the previous life flashed through my mind. Even if I did nothing, my elder sister would still end up in a very tragic situation. But my enemies weren't just her, whether it was Liang Yiming or my parents. They were all executioners who pushed me into the abyss. Blood debts must be repaid with blood. I proposed a deal. Mr. Fu, could you do me a favor? Once it's done, the assets of the Fu family can at least increase by 200 million. Unexpectedly, Fu Ruching didn't agree immediately. Instead, he asked me where I was going. What about you? I pointed at myself. Me? I have nowhere to go. Would you like to take me in? It was just a joke, but who knew that he seemed to take it seriously? His well-defined fingers tightly grasped my hand, and he said in a hoarse voice, okay, then never leave me. Me, 8. Fortunately, although Fu Ruching's words were intimidating, he didn't actually do anything excessive. During the days I lived in the Fu family, I collected a lot of evidence of the Lin family embezzling public funds and lining their own pockets. They would become the key links on my path of revenge. 3 months later, on the 2nd day of the 10th lunar month, Liang Yiming and my elder sister held a grand wedding. My elder sister was wearing a white wedding dress, with a huge diamond on her ring finger. There was a smug and complacent smile on her face as she enjoyed the compliments and congratulations from others. "Thank you for your blessings, Miss Lee. My Yiming just dotes on me. There's nothing I can do about it." I told him not to buy such a luxurious diamond ring, but he actually had someone bring me a pink diamond back from South Africa. "I heard it's worth 200 million, Mrs. Zhao. You're here too. You've noticed it. I'm indeed pregnant. With your kind words, it will definitely be the legitimate eldest grandson of the Liang family. Don't worry, there will be many opportunities in the future. After all, I'm now the only apple of my parents' and Yiming's eyes." My elder sister smiled brightly, until she saw me attending. Her smile immediately froze. "Lin Tan, why are you here? Who let you in?" She waved her hand, intending to ask the security guards to throw me out. The corners of my lips curled up slightly. "Lin Rua, I'm not attending the ceremony in the name of your younger sister today, but as Mrs. Fu. If you drive me away, do you want to reject the investment from the Fu family?" Even the Liang family in its prime couldn't compete with the Fu family, let alone in its current declining situation. I smiled and said, "Sister, I heard that you're pregnant, then don't wear that dyed pink diamond anymore. Chemical dyes are harmful to the body. Be careful not to have a miscarriage." "Lin Tan, do you think I'll believe your nonsense? Let me tell you, you'll never be able to enjoy wealth and glory like I do in your life." My elder sister stamped her foot angrily and turned around to entertain other guests. I raised my eyebrows. She was so easily provoked. Wouldn't she be driven crazy by what I was going to do next? An hour later, the ceremony officially began. My parents pretended to be kind and loving parents, as if they were pleased that their daughter had found her final destination. After the bride and groom exchanged diamond rings, they announced that they would give all the shares of the Lin family to my elder sister, and they signed the agreement on the spot, which took effect immediately after signing. The guests present all applauded my parents' generosity, and Liang Yiming was even more overjoyed. My elder sister glanced at me triumphantly and said in a coquettish voice, "Dad, Mom, you spoil me too much. Isn't there still my sister?" Oops, I forgot that my sister was kicked out of the house for being unfilial. How pitiful. There was a lot of discussion among the guests. The news that I had severed my relationship with the Lin family wasn't a secret in the circle, but it hadn't been confirmed either, so many people speculated whether there was still room for negotiation. Unexpectedly, my elder sister didn't hide it at all and said it out loud at the wedding today. For a moment, many people looked at me with either pity or ridicule in their eyes. 9. I stood up gracefully and raised my glass towards my parents from a distance. Although my parents have severed their relationship with me, after all, they gave birth to me and raised me for so many years, I'm still grateful. I always have to give some small gifts. Dad, Mom, oh, Mr. Lin, Mrs. Lin, I heard that you're going to settle in the United States soon. To express my apologies, I can only give you 2 business class tickets. I hope you can live comfortably in the United States. As soon as I said this, the whole room was in an uproar. My elder sister looked confused and turned her head to ask, "Mom and Dad, why are you suddenly going abroad? Why didn't you tell me?" Of course, if they had told her, could my parents have run away carefree? "Lin Tan, what are you talking nonsense about? When are we going abroad?" My father avoided my gaze and scolded me blusteringly. It was obvious to anyone with discernment that he was feeling guilty. I pretended to be confused and said, "Is that so?" Ruching clearly told me that there was a problem with the family's assets. Alas, anyway, I'm not a daughter of the Lin family anymore. Maybe I made a mistake. After saying that, I sat down leisurely and tightened my hold on Fu Ruching's arm. His body stiffened for a moment, and then he tightened his grip with an irresistible force, as if he wanted to lock me tightly by his side. I smiled to soothe him, looking like an affectionate couple. The people below were laughing, but the people on the stage were about to cry. Liang Yiming snatched the agreement like a madman. After reading it, he called his secretary. After hanging up the phone, his eyes were so red that they seemed to be bleeding. My elder sister didn't understand what was going on and stepped forward to please him. "Honey, what happened? Let's solve it together." Before she could finish speaking, Liang Yiming slapped her to interrupt her. My elder sister rolled down from the half-meter-high platform, hit her head on the pillar, and fainted on the spot. There was a cut on her forehead, and blood was gushing out. Not only that, Liang Yiming rushed in front of my parents and swung his fist at their old faces. What was supposed to be a wonderful wedding banquet turned into a brawl scene, escorted by bodyguards. I left the scene unharmed, looking at the tall rainbow gate. I squinted my eyes. I knew that Liang Yiming and my elder sister had already obtained their marriage certificate, and my elder sister chose to inherit the property, along with the debts. The huge debt that the Liang family owed hadn't been paid off yet, and now they had an additional 200 million in joint marital debt. TSK, so pitiful. I hope they can get through this disaster smoothly and then rot and stink together in prison. 10. The next day. The front pages of major newspapers were all news about the bankruptcy of the Lin family and Liang Yiming's violent behavior at the wedding. My elder sister was admitted to the hospital. Fortunately, she didn't have a miscarriage. My parents suffered a mild concussion from the beating and claimed that they would sue Liang Yiming for intentional injury. However, before the lawyer could come, the police arrested them. The reason was that they were suspected of occupational embezzlement and foreign exchange evasion. Due to the huge amount involved, they were likely to be sentenced to more than 10 years in prison. They cried and begged me to save them. I sat on the chair with an unchanged expression. I'm a married daughter, like spilled water. It's only right and proper to pay off debts. If you don't want to go to jail, it's simple. Then you can just die. Everything will be clean if you're dead. It was the same words as in the previous life, but the difference was that I had become the one who controlled their fate. Lin Tan, you ungrateful wretch. If I had known this, I should have strangled you to death when you were born. My mother cried and roared. I tilted my head. Very well. There's one more charge for going to jail. Bodyguards, take Mr. and Mrs. Lin to the police station and say that they're suspected of attempted murder. My parents were dragged out the door, and their cries gradually faded away. Fu Ruqing walked up to me and looked at me with a complicated expression. I took his hand and pressed it against my face. Do you think I'm bad? I can even be so heartless towards my own parents. According to Buddhist teachings, people like me should go to hell, Fu Ruqing said in a low voice. No, his lips pressed against mine. They were a bit cold, but they gave me infinite strength. You're saving yourself. Saving myself? People like me can either destroy themselves or destroy their enemies. Do I even deserve to turn over a new leaf? After dealing with my parents, I went to the hospital. The ward was filled with the strong smell of disinfectant, which was pungent and choking. My elder sister was lying in the hospital bed, and there wasn't even a caregiver by her side. I casually picked up the apple on the table and started peeling it while chatting. Sister, how pitiful you are. Mom and Dad are really something. They actually transferred the shorted company to you, and your husband is absurd too. Isn't it just taking on an additional 200 million in debt out of the blue? Is it necessary to hit people in public? My elder sister gritted her teeth so hard that sparks seemed to fly. She itched to eat my flesh and drink my blood. Bitch, you knew everything all along, didn't you? You framed me. I smiled. You chose your husband, and you signed the documents yourself. I didn't do anything from beginning to end. It's just that you brought this upon yourself. Don't be so complacent. The Liang family has a big business. Sooner or later, they will avenge this humiliation, and I'm pregnant with Liang Yiming's child now. Once he's born, I'll be the legitimate Mrs. Liang. My elder sister kept stroking her belly, not sure if she was threatening me or comforting herself. My gaze fixed on her slightly swollen belly, and I shrugged. I hope this child can bring you wealth and glory. I forgot to remind you, some people really like the pregnant woman play. I hope you and your child can withstand such intense activities. My elder sister frowned. What do you mean? You live a life like a widow, so don't meddle in other people's married life. I turned around and smiled. Then I wish you a stimulating and enjoyable sex life. Mrs. Liang, 11. The next time I saw Liang Yiming was at a dinner party a month later. The 200 million in foreign debt was like the last straw that broke the camel's back, making him irritable and easily angered. Yet he could only grovel. As soon as Fu Ruqing and I arrived at the hall, Liang Yiming came to beg humbly, Mr. Fu Tan, for the sake of our being relatives, please be magnanimous and give us a hand. As long as you invest 500 million in the Liang group, the Liang family can be revived, and our two families can grow and become stronger together. Fu Ruqing seemed not to have heard his voice and kept his eyes fixed on my reaction. I covered my lips and chuckled. Brother-in-law, we're family, so we don't need to stand on ceremony. Lin Rua is my biological elder sister. Of course I want to help you, but you also know that my parents severed their relationship with me because of her, and my heart is really cold. When Liang Yiming heard my elder sister's name, his eyes turned scarlet. He ordered the servants to drag my elder sister out and forced her to apologize to me, betrayed by her husband like this. My elder sister wished she could kill Liang Yiming, but for some reason, she, who had always been shrewd and assertive, didn't even dare to make a peep at this moment. I had sharp eyes and saw the purple and blue marks under her evening dress. At a glance, they looked like the bruises from being beaten. Glared at by Liang Yiming, my elder sister's legs went weak. She gritted her teeth and squeezed out a sentence. Sorry, sister, I was too willful in the past. I hope you can forgive me. After all, we are family. Besides me, who else can treat you with all my heart? I watched her performance with great interest and nodded. Okay, then let me see your sincerity, sister. My elder sister's eyes lit up, and she was overly attentive as she said, let's go to the side and catch up. Sisters, don't delay the men from discussing important matters, Fu Ruqing said in a deep voice. Lin Tan, I winked at him, turned back to my elder sister, and said, since sister has spoken, let's go. When we arrived at the bedroom on the second floor, my elder sister closed the door and somehow brought out a glass of red wine. Sister, let's bury the hatchet with a glass of wine. Seeing the wine glass brought to my lips, I took it and said with a half smile, you want me to drink it? A trace of panic flashed in my elder sister's eyes, and her gaze kept wandering towards the balcony. Pregnant women can't drink alcohol, so of course you're the only one who can drink it, I sneered, raised my arm, and then splashed all the wine on her face. My elder sister was caught off guard and splashed all over her face. She covered her face and let out a scream. Lin Tan, you bitch, Mr. Li, come quickly and hold her down. The balcony door was opened, and a fat man appeared behind the curtains. He seemed to think that I couldn't escape even if I had wings. He walked towards me with a lecherous smile. Little beauty, if you don't want to get hurt, you'd better obediently submit to me, otherwise, before he could finish speaking, I picked up the dinner knife and stabbed it into his stomach. Blood splashed on my face. I casually wiped it and showed a smile. Do you want me to accompany you to sleep in hell? 12. The man's heavy begging for mercy and my elder sister's crying filled my ears. I dropped the knife, opened the door, and walked out step by step. Unexpectedly, Fu Ruqing was standing at the door. I instinctively covered the blood on my body and carefully said, sorry, before I could finish speaking. I was suddenly pulled into his arms. The blood stained his clothes, spreading out large ripples. A scalding tear fell on my neck. I couldn't tell who was stirred up with affection. I was picked up by him and rushed to the car. The hug turned into a kiss, and the kiss turned into more unrestrained actions. The blood-stained clothes were taken off one by one, revealing the most fundamental aspects of human nature. After everything turned upside down, I finally soiled the god who was untouched by the world. It's okay, let's go to hell together. 13. When I woke up the next day, I found myself lying in the bedroom. Fu Ruqing wasn't by my side, but my body had been cleaned. I took a look at my phone, and it seemed that no big news had broken out. Just as I was in a daze, the police called me. Ms. Lin, hello, may I ask if Lin Rua is your relative? After getting an answer, the police continued. She was found unconscious in a hotel. There are multiple injuries on her body, and it is suspected that she has suffered illegal infringement. In the ward, my elder sister was on a ventilator, and various medical instruments were barely maintaining her vital signs. Even so, she still firmly grabbed the corner of my clothes, full of resentment. Lin Tan, it's her who made me like this. She also stabbed Mr. Li. Make Lin Tan go to jail. The police looked solemn. After making a call to verify, they helplessly explained, Mr. Li was indeed injured last night, but he claimed that he accidentally fell and accidentally stabbed himself in the abdomen with a knife. I understood in my heart. No wonder Fu Ruqing wasn't at home early in the morning. It turned out that he had gone to deal with this matter, whether by coercion or inducement. He could always achieve unexpected results. I smiled and said, Mr. Li was really careless. I thought it was my sister who accidentally stabbed him while playing some bold games with him. By the way, officer, I can see that my sister is seriously injured. I don't know what she has gone through. Could you please tell me? I learned from the police that after the party last night, my sister was forcibly taken away by several men covering her mouth. Strangely enough, Liang Yiming watched his wife being assaulted but did nothing. If it weren't for the eyewitness accounts of several witnesses, no one would believe that such an outrageous thing could happen. I pretended to be sad and let out a deep sigh. My brother-in-law is being naughty again. You know, the economic situation of the Liang family hasn't been good recently. I didn't expect him to really set his sights on my sister. It's really a sin. The words were half true and half false, but they were enough to provide the police with a new direction. The police took their leave and prepared to investigate the criminal facts of Liang Yiming, and I stayed in the ward, reached out, and patted my elder sister's face. Sister, does it feel good to marry Liang Yiming? My elder sister widened her eyes in disbelief. You. I spread my hands and smiled. I have reminded you many times, it's you who are too stupid. In the end, you still wanted to drag me down, but instead, You got yourself into trouble. I had met that Mr. Lee in my previous life. He was a regular customer who patronized Liang Yiming's business, presumably. In this life, Liang Yiming again had the idea of making his wife accompany guests and asked my elder sister to offer herself. My elder sister didn't want to wait for her doom. She deliberately led me into that room, but unexpectedly, she got herself into trouble instead. Liang Yiming didn't expect that my elder sister would mess up two things at once. The fantasy of repairing the relationship with the Fu family was shattered, and he offended the big benefactor, Mr. Lee, in a fit of anger. It was not impossible for him to find other places and send my elder sister there to accompany guests. Seeing the mockery in my eyes, my elder sister was terrified. It's impossible. I exchanged lives with you. All your power and love should be mine. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I lowered my eyes and looked at her, clicking my tongue in amazement. This is my past experience, the love and intact body that you want. My elder sister let out a hoarse roar, and upon careful listening, she was actually calling Fu Ruqing's name. She struggled so violently that she accidentally pulled out the tube inserted into her body. I curled the corners of my lips and kindly called the nurse for her. My elder sister still had a long, long life ahead of her. Long enough for her to have enough time to reflect on her failed life. 14. After Liang Yiming was taken back by the police for investigation, the Liang family's stock was like a roller coaster that had reached its peak and quickly plummeted. Those former benefactors not only didn't help but were afraid of getting themselves into trouble. They even added insult to injury. They couldn't wait to fabricate the news that Liang Yiming had accompanied others to bed. Regardless of whether this matter was true or false, his act of forcing women to accompany guests was suspected of violating the criminal law, and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. This matter wasn't over yet. 10 years was just a matter of time. I could wait. When Liang Yiming is released from prison, I will throw him into a group of men myself and let him have a good taste of what hell is like. When I walked out of the court, the weather was extremely good, with not a cloud in the sky. Fu Ruqing was standing at the front of the car waiting for me. I waved at him and ran over quickly. Mr. Fu, have you been waiting for me for a long time? Fu Ruqing shook his head. I like waiting for you. I bit his earlobe and smiled cunningly. Can you say it in a different way? For example, Fu Ruqing said simply, I will wait for you for a lifetime. After a pause, he added, I like you, for 2 lifetimes. He looked at me intently, and his dark eyes seemed to suck me in. I smiled sweetly. Is that so? Do you like me that much? To explain clearly, he moved his lips, but I stood on tiptoe and kissed him. In this life, there is enough time for us to be together, and I will wait for the answer I want. Extra chapter. From Fu Ruqing's perspective, I have never told anyone that I met Lin Tan in my previous life, not just once. The first time we met was at her wedding with Liang Yiming. Clearly, the surroundings were bustling with noise and the gongs and drums were resounding. But there was not the slightest trace of joy on her face. She was only 22 years old, in the prime of her life, but she was like a withered tree whose fire had been extinguished. She seemed to be the fuel that made the Lin family prosperous. 5 years passed by in a flash. After experiencing Lin Rua's infidelity and Lin Tan's parents fleeing abroad with the money, the prestigious Lin family finally collapsed. I would occasionally think of Lin Tan. I wondered how she would cope with the situation when the birds flew away and the forest was deserted. I thought that the Liang family should protect her. After all, they had once been a wealthy family and wouldn't be too harsh on a helpless woman. Unexpectedly, I would find Lin Tan, bruised and battered, on my way back to the mountain. It was pouring with rain that day. I didn't know how she fainted on the mountain road, and her body was soaked in blood. There was a medical station on the mountain. I took her back for an examination and found that the injuries on her body were far beyond my imagination. Moreover, she was blind. According to the doctor, it was due to a retinal detachment caused by external force. My heart shook. Although I didn't know what Lin Tan had gone through these years, I understood that I definitely couldn't hand her back to the Liang family. When she woke up, she looked at me with empty eyes. Although I knew she couldn't see, I couldn't help feeling a little nervous. Lin Tan sniffed and said, It's the smell of incense. This should be a temple, right? Did you save me, little master? I let out an She had only met me once and had never spoken to me before, so it was normal that she didn't remember me. After hesitating for a while, I slowly said, Your eyes. My eyes are blind. Fortunately, I'm still alive. It's a blessing and misfortune. Lin Tan blinked at me, as if smiling, but I could clearly feel that she was crying. Well, then you can stay here for now. There will usually be volunteers and lay Buddhists to take care of you. Unexpectedly, Lin Tan said, Thank you, little master. You monks are truly kind, you even saved someone as dirty and ignorant as me. How can I repay you? I was at a loss for words and fled in a hurry. With the influence of the Fu family in Beijing, it was easy to find out the evil deeds that Liang Yiming had done over the years. A thin document recorded all kinds of incidents in which Lin Tan was humiliated and trampled on. For the first time, I had the intention to kill someone. It wasn't just because he disregarded human ethics and did heinous things, but also because he had done such unforgivable things to Lin Tan. Liang Yiming deserved to die, and the Liang family really deserved to be destroyed. When I finished dealing with this matter and returned to the mountain, I saw Lin Tan sitting on the meditation cushion in a daze. She had never kowed out or burned incense, and there was no sign of her reverence for gods and Buddhas. I was already used to it and walked past her without changing my expression. Unexpectedly, she suddenly called me, "Little master, did you break the precepts when you went down the mountain? Why do you ask that?" She smiled and said, "Because I can smell the smell of blood on you." The sense of smell of a blind person is very sensitive. I paused. No, Lin Tan nodded, deep in thought. 2 days later, she actually sneaked down the mountain by herself and then stumbled back with more injuries. When I took her back to the side room, she was still laughing. The retribution came really quickly. Liang Yiming actually went to prison. He had done so many disgusting things and should have ended up like this long ago. She then shouted, "No, I should have killed him." Killed him. After saying that, she desperately shook my lapel. I helplessly soothed her. "When you're better, go and kill him yourself." "Of course, I will help you," I said silently in my heart. I knew that I had broken the precepts, so it didn't matter if I broke them one more time. But Lin Tan ultimately didn't hold on until the day Liang Yiming was released from prison. Her body had suffered too much torture, like a campfire whose firewood was gradually being removed, and it could never return to the bright moments of the past. Lin Tan leaned against me, gasping for breath with difficulty. "Thank you, little master. Thank you for taking me in. I'm really happy." Someone once told me, "Those who haven't known suffering won't believe in gods and Buddhas." But I've endured so much suffering and still don't believe much. It was said that Fu Ruqing went into seclusion on the spot, feeling disgusted. From me, her voice gradually weakened and finally faded into silence. I hugged her body tightly and said hoarsely, "I know." I knew the cause and effect of the tragedy, who the person she mentioned was, and that from then on, there was someone living in my heart. This life came too late. Will we be able to meet in the next life? When I opened my eyes again, I was back in the past. When I received the call from Lin Tan's parents, my heart was pounding wildly, and I was already prepared to refuse. However, the name they mentioned was Lin Tan's. I immediately drove to the Lin family. Under the dazzling crystal lights, Lin Tan smiled brightly and retorted Lin Rua with veiled sarcasm at the same time. I couldn't help but look at her. And I also wanted her to keep looking at me. There would be no more filthy things coveting my person. Those who had hurt her deserved to die. Whether it was the bankruptcy of the Lin family or the collapse of the Liang family, I had a hand in it. Next, I dealt with Liang Yiming, Lin Rua, and that man surnamed Li one by one. I won't let them die easily, because sometimes living is more painful than dying. That night, I was finally able to hold Lin Tan in my arms openly, in the name of a lover. She was curious about where my deep affection came from. I will spend my whole life answering. It came from the previous life. Story 2. After my rebirth, I proactively placed the divorce agreement in front of Zhou Ziyu. He didn't even glance at it and tossed the document aside, saying, "I won't give you custody of our son. I don't want custody." Zhou Ziyu looked up. "You've come to terms with it?" "Yes, I have. In my previous life, I couldn't bear to leave my son behind and clung to Zhou Ziyu for most of our lives, until our son grew up. But on his wedding day, he declared in front of everyone, 'I hope my mom can make way for my dad and Aunt Lin. Aunt Lin has had it tough staying with my dad all these years. I will never do my homework. You forcing me won't help.'" 8-year-old Zhou Ran was sprawled on the floor, throwing a tantrum, looking utterly defiant. And such scenes occurred daily. I insisted he finish his homework before playing. I limited his TV time to half an hour. I only allowed him to eat fried chicken burgers once a week. I set many rules for him, hoping to cultivate good habits. But these habits became a joke the day Lin Yaqi appeared. He accused me. "Aunt Lin never makes me do homework. She just plays with me. Aunt Lin doesn't stop me from eating drumsticks. She says boys need to eat more to grow tall. I don't like you at all. I wish Aunt Lin could be my mom." Even though I was heartbroken to hear these words in my previous life, I chose to forgive him. I thought he was just too young to understand, and that he would appreciate my intentions when he grew up. I still pushed him to study hard, to exercise, and to eat well. As an adult, He graduated from a prestigious university, started his own company, and married a well-matched wife. On his wedding day, the host asked him to thank his parents. In front of all the guests, he said to me, "I hope you can make way for my dad and Aunt Lynn, who has been with my dad for so many years." Lynn Yaki cried like a fountain below the stage. It seemed as if the hardships she endured over the years were all worth it at that moment, and I, standing on stage, appeared redundant and foolish. "Mom, you forced me to do things I didn't want to do since I was a child. If it weren't for Aunt Lynn's quiet warmth and encouragement behind the scenes, I would have been ruined. You and Dad had no marital affection left. Why keep occupying this position, making everyone unhappy?" I don't know how I managed to leave Joey-ran's wedding in such a daze. All I knew was that after I walked out of the hotel, I was hit by a car due to jaywalking and then unexpectedly reborn. Watching my mischievous son at this moment, I nodded. "Okay, no homework." Joey-ran, lying on the ground, looked up at me in surprise. "Are you serious?" "Of course," I said calmly. "Can I continue watching TV now?" "Not only can you watch TV, but you can also play on the tablet." "Can I eat chips while playing?" Joey-ran asked, pushing his luck. "Whatever you want." "Why are you suddenly so nice to me?" Joey-ran asked in surprise. I just smiled and said nothing. "An ungrateful wretch doesn't deserve my sincerity." "Is it because you're afraid I'll only like Aunt Lynn in the future and not you?" Joey-ran said smugly. "Whatever you want in the future, I'll support it," I said deliberately, pausing between each word, "including your favorite Aunt Lynn." After satisfying all of Joey-ran's unreasonable demands, he became increasingly uncontrollable. The first thing he did after coming home from school was to play on his tablet. He played during meals. He even slept clutching the tablet. If he stayed up too late and couldn't wake up, I wouldn't call him. I let him sleep until he woke up naturally. If he wanted to go to school upon waking, he could. If not, I wouldn't force him. I let him indulge in his favorite snacks. I've had enough of handling everything myself. Even the maid couldn't stand it anymore and kindly advised me, "Madam, by spoiling the young master this way, you're actually ruining him." "How could that be?" I retorted sarcastically. "Forcing him to do things he dislikes would truly be the ruin of him." However, such days didn't last long before my son Joey-ran's unusual behavior started causing dissatisfaction at school. His homeroom teacher called me, saying that Joey-ran was being defiant in class, unabashedly telling the teacher, "My parents don't bother with me. What right do you have to do so?" "I'm sorry, I really can't control him. If there's any issue, please contact my husband instead." I gave the teacher my husband's number. After hanging up, I continued with my beauty treatment. When I finished my beauty treatment and returned home, I found Josuyu, who rarely comes home, standing in the living room. His face looked extremely unpleasant, his voice tinged with sarcasm. "Shinshi, your tactics are getting more sophisticated, using our son to force me to come back." I did indeed want Josuyu to come back. After all, calling him was useless. I can't remember when Josuyu and I started having such a hostile relationship. We were clearly in love freely, married voluntarily, shared hardships, and started a business together. Once the company stabilized, I stepped back to focus on supporting my husband and raising our child. I devoted too much energy to our son, and by the time I realized something was off with Josuyu, he had already emotionally strayed. His attention was on Lin Yaki, a 20-year-old intern at the company, youthful and delicate. I accidentally saw the messages between Josuyu and her. Josuyu wrote, "You remind me of my wife when she was young. She was as lovely and delicate as you." "And now?" Lin Yaki asked, sending a curious and cute emoticon. "Now, she's gotten plump, and sometimes being intimate with her feels a bit sickening." I never expected to be perceived that way by Josuyu. That incident enraged me like never before. Feeling deeply insulted, I insisted on a divorce. Josuyu didn't agree, explaining it was just harmless flirting and told me not to overreact. Both our parents tried to persuade me, mentioning our 2-year-old child, urging me to not hold it against Josuyu this time. Josuyu also swore he would not contact Lin Yaki again and immediately fired her to show his loyalty to me. Moreover, at that time, Josuyu indeed hadn't had a real affair with Lin Yaki. Eventually, I chose to forgive him. I even began to reflect on whether I had indeed focused too much on our child, thereby neglecting Josuyu and myself. As I tried to change, Josuyu physically cheated. As I was at the hospital caring for Joey-ran, who suddenly developed a high fever, I called Josuyu. He responded impatiently, "Enough, Shinshi, I'm just out for business entertaining. Stop finding reasons to force me back." Alone in the hospital with Joey-ran, I received a photo from Lin Yaki late at night. It was explicit. She said, "President Zhou says even if you lost weight, you'd still be ugly, not delicate and cute like me." That moment made me realize, once a man cheats, he cheats. There's no distinction between emotional and physical. Once again, I demanded a divorce, this time. Joseu didn't refuse, but he insisted that Joiran must stay with him. At that point, for me, Joiran is everything in my life. I have poured all my love into him. He's only 3 years old, his world revolves around me, and without me by his side, he won't sleep until dawn. I can't bear to leave him. I've thought about fighting for custody in court, but I haven't worked for years and can't compete with Joseu. Our marriage has been entangled like this. He never gave up on seeking custody. I've always insisted on having it. As time went by, Joiran grew up, and I seem to have gotten used to this broken marriage. Sometimes, getting used to something can be truly terrifying. I deeply despised Joseu's infidelity, yet I ended up spending most of my life with him. Fortunately, fate gave me a chance to start over. I opened the drawer and calmly handed the divorce papers to Joseu. When he saw the papers, he laughed sarcastically. Shinshi, I thought you had come to your senses after all this time without making a fuss. What's this now? Isn't the money I give you each month enough? It's not enough, I replied. How much do you want? Joseu asked generously. Half of the company's assets. What are you thinking, Shinshi? Have you lost your mind? Joseu was furious. The company was founded together by us and belongs to our marital assets. I've consulted a lawyer, and I am rightfully entitled to half, I asserted. And then Joseu said impatiently, unless we divorce, all this remains marital property. So isn't that what I'm doing now? I gestured towards the divorce papers. Joseu scoffed dismissively and tossed the papers aside. I'm not giving you custody of our son. I don't want it. Joseu looked up. Have you come to terms with it? I have. Impatiently, Joseu picked up the divorce papers again and started to read them seriously. I didn't ask for more than what I was entitled to. Furthermore, I willingly gave the custody of Joiran to Joseu. Joseu frowned deeply and put down the papers. Shinshi, you'd better not regret this. Giving up custody means you can't see our son without my permission. I know, once we divorce, there's no way we'll get back together, even for the sake of our son. Joseu threatened. Sign it, I urged, not wanting to waste words with Joseu, if I hadn't been kept away from him. The first thing I would have done after my rebirth was to seek a divorce from him. Seeing my resolve, Joseu signed his name flamboyantly. Shinshi, you brought this on yourself. If it weren't for your constant pressure, considering our son and our years of history, you could have remained Mrs. Joe for life. It's you who didn't cherish that. Who cares? I said indifferently. In my previous life, maintaining a marriage with Joseu was never about clinging to the status of Mrs. Joe. It was purely the bond of blood. Pack your things and get out of my house, Joseu said as he threw the signed divorce agreement at me. My bags were already packed. I was just waiting to divorce Joseu. I turned and walked upstairs. Joiran had also come home from school with Joseu, having been told by his teacher to reflect at home for a couple of days before returning to school. He had been hiding in a corner, eavesdropping on my conversation with Joseu. Seeing me leave, he hurriedly followed. Are you really divorcing Dad? Joiran asked me. Happy now, I said lightly, carrying my luggage. No one will be there to boss you around anymore. You can do anything you want, I said softly. Aren't you afraid that after you divorce Dad, no one will want you anymore? He asked. Who told you that no one would want me? I asked with a laugh, looking at him. Grandma and Dad both said it. Joiran replied calmly. They said you're not good enough for Dad. That no one would want you after you divorce him, that you wouldn't dare to divorce Dad. I couldn't help but laugh. I had seen through Joseu a long time ago. I didn't expect his mother to be the same. She always pretended to be a good person, complaining about her son in front of me, acknowledging how hard I worked raising the child. Turns out, behind my back, she just saw me as a free nanny for her grandson. But of course, it doesn't matter anymore. From now on, they are just irrelevant people. Just promise me you'll really stay out of my life, as well as Dad's and Aunt Lynn's, and I'll plead with Dad not to divorce you. Joiran negotiated with me. No need, I said, gently patting his head. Take good care of yourself from now on, because from now on, his growth has nothing to do with me anymore. I left, dragging 2 large suitcases behind me. I didn't look back. I moved into a nicely furnished apartment I had found in advance, near University A. I'm preparing to take the entrance exams for graduate school. To further my education, Joseu and I were college classmates. I gave up a guaranteed spot for postgraduate studies to help him start a business. After the business succeeded and we had our son, I shifted my focus to the family. I've always regretted not pursuing a master's or doctoral degree. Having been reborn, I've deeply realized that one must live for oneself, No one else can truly share your feelings. The day after I moved out of the Zhou family villa, I saw Lin Yaqi had posted on her social media. She had added me first. At the company's anniversary celebration, which I attended with Zhou Ziyu, Lin Yaqi complimented my earrings and asked for the link on WeChat. Later, she got the same pair of earrings, not bought by her, but gifted by Zhou Ziyu. Her post today read, "Poverty limits my imagination. Is such a huge backyard meant for playing football?" Attached was a photo of the back garden of the Zhou family villa. Clearly, her intention was to declare to the world that she was now openly with Zhou Ziyu, no longer the shameful mistress. I promptly liked the post, a match made in heaven, shameless and eternal. After I liked the post, Lin Yaqi immediately messaged me privately, "Shinshi, you wouldn't mind me posting that, right?" Ziyu insisted I post it, saying he's been unfair to me all these years. To provoke me, Lin Yaqi occasionally sent intimate photos of her and Zhou Ziyu, or wrote about how much Zhou Ziyu loved her. Then she would delete them shortly after, with a quick apology. "Sorry, sent that by mistake." I used to lose my temper and argue with Zhou Ziyu because of her antics. Ultimately, it only worsened the relationship between Zhou Ziyu and me. He hardly came home anymore, even taking Zhou Iran to celebrate his birthdays with Lin Yaqi. Every time Zhou Iran returned from Lin Yaqi's place, he would say, "Aunt Lin is so nice to me. She's gentle and beautiful. I want her to be my mom." Looking back, I don't know how I endured it all in my past life. Fortunately, the pain was deep, leaving no room for attachment. I replied with a smile, "Why would I mind? Didn't I already give you a like? Are you showing off for Ziyu?" Lin Yaqi assumed that my divorce from Zhou Ziyu was just a spur-of-the-moment decision. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. It wasn't worth wasting time on such people. I was about to block Lin Yaqi. Then she sent another message. "You forgot to take something with you." Impossible. I check every day. There's no way I could have left anything behind. Lin Yaqi then sent a photo. It was a box of condoms. I generously replied, "I've given them to you. They're expired." Lin Yaqi sent a laughing emoji and added, "You haven't finished these from years ago. Ziyu uses several each day here. We can't buy them fast enough." Well, isn't that perfect? The trash I don't want. You enjoy recycling. Consider it making good use of waste. I replied calmly, "Who are you calling trash?" Lin Yaqi was instantly infuriated. As she furiously typed, I blocked her right away. Out of sight, out of mind. After blocking Lin Yaqi, my social circle felt much more refreshing, with no more disturbances. I devoted myself entirely to my graduate entrance exam preparations. A month later, I suddenly received a call from Zhou Ziyu. He bluntly asked, "Shinshi, where have you been hiding? If you didn't want to divorce, why the act? It's too late now." I then remembered, today was the last day of the divorce cooling off period. It was time to go to the Civil Affairs office to get the divorce certificate. "I'm heading to the Civil Affairs office right now." I hung up the phone and didn't dare delay a second longer, pressing the gas pedal straight to the Civil Affairs office. Zhou Ziyu saw me arrive with a sarcastic smile. When we went to register for the divorce, we had agreed to meet at 10 o'clock this morning. It was already noon, and the staff at the Civil Affairs office had gone off duty. "Shinshi, when you made me sign the divorce papers, I had said regretting it later would be futile. What are you trying to pull today? We must get divorced." Zhou Ziyu sneered. "Fine," I agreed readily. "I should thank you. If you hadn't stepped aside, I wouldn't have known how well Lin Yaqi, despite her young age, could take care of children. When you looked after our son, it was chaos, but everything has been perfect since Lin Yaqi came." Zhou Ziyu boasted. "Congratulations on marrying such a capable wife," I responded, still being tough. Zhou Ziyu said with disdain, "Let's see how long you can keep it up." When I received the divorce certificate, I breathed a huge sigh of relief. I was afraid that my delay would exhaust Zhou Ziyu's patience and he would walk away. I really didn't want to waste another moment on him. "Shinshi," Zhou Ziyu called out loudly behind me because I was leaving quickly. "From now on, we have nothing to do with each other. If you ever regret this." I drove off, not wanting to hear another word from Zhou Ziyu. Now free, I felt even more motivated in my studies. Every day, apart from studying hard, I made sure to exercise regularly. I couldn't let myself end up with health issues like in my previous life. Half a year later, after relentless effort, I finally succeeded. During this period, Zhou Iran called me, hesitantly asking, "Mom, did you miss me?" I honestly replied, "No, because Mom has been very busy. Today is my 9th birthday." He sounded somewhat dejected. "Happy birthday." I smiled as I offered my blessings. "Don't you want to spend my birthday with me? Your father said that without his permission, I can't see you alone. Can't you ask Dad for permission?" Zhou Iran was somewhat agitated. "No, I can't. Why must you always be at odds with Dad? actually, Dad, let's not talk about this anymore. I have important things to do. I took the initiative to hang up Joiran's call. This was something that would have never happened before. I used to wait for him to hang up first before I would put down my phone. See, actually, there's nothing that can't be let go of, as long as you're disappointed enough. One late night during my graduate studies, I suddenly received a call from Josué. I hadn't blocked Josué because I thought he would never contact me first. Indeed, over a year since our divorce. He had been a decent ex, as good as dead, half asleep. I didn't check who was calling. Hello, Shinshi. I'm not going to give you another chance. Josué's voice was cold. I was utterly confused. Was he possessed? Lin Yaki is pregnant with my child, and I'm going to marry her, he declared proudly. Congratulations, I said politely, though annoyed to be woken up in the middle of the night. Josué seemed to scoff. Then he hung up the phone. I didn't take it seriously, that is, until I received the wedding invitation from Josué and Lin Yaki. I suspected they sent it to the wrong person, but my full name was on the invitation. Of course, just because they invited me didn't mean I had to go. I simply threw the invitation away. But then that day, Joiran called me. Mom, why haven't you arrived? Arrived where? I hadn't caught on yet. At the hotel for Dad and Aunt Lynn's wedding. I didn't say I was coming, but didn't Dad send you an invitation? I came early to save you a seat. Why aren't you coming? Joiran's voice was breaking. I felt unmoved and simply said, I have my own matters to attend to. I can't make it. Thanks for saving me a seat. You can give it to someone else now. As I was about to hang up, are those matters more important than me? Joiran asked, devastated. I thought for a moment and answered very seriously, yes, they are more important than you. You are not important at all, after rejecting my son. Josué called again. Shinshi, are you unhappy about me marrying Lin Yaki? Are you taking it out on our son? What? I was baffled. What did you just say to our son? He's been crying. I didn't scold him, I explained. Stop making excuses. You're just upset that I married Lin Yaki, so you're taking it out on our son. At that moment, I was speechless. Admit it, Josué said coldly, seeing I hadn't responded. It's too late for regrets now. I wish you and Lin Yaki a lifetime of happiness. After hanging up, I blocked Josué as well. I thought that after Josué and Lin Yaki's marriage, I thought there would be no more interaction between us. Yet, within less than a month, Josué suddenly appeared at the entrance of University A. I was just leaving the lab with my senior, discussing data along the way. Out of the blue, I saw Josué waiting for me at the gate with Joiran. How did he know I was pursuing my master's degree? When Josué saw me, his gaze lingered on the person next to me. It seemed like there was anger in his eyes, or perhaps it was just my imagination. He said sarcastically, I was wondering why you abandoned your son. It turns out Shinshi has a new love. Does he know you were married and have a son? I'm aware. Before I could speak, my senior, Chinchiching, responded proactively. I heard her ex-husband was a scumbag. Do you know him? I couldn't help but laugh. Josué's face turned dark. He coldly stated, I need to speak with Shinshi, meaning that he wanted Chinchiching to leave. Chinchiching ignored him and asked me, any trouble? No, I smiled at him. You can go back first. I'll return soon after. Call me if you need anything. I'll call the police for you. Okay, Chinchiching left. Can't bear to part, can you? Josué mocked. I shifted my gaze back to him. What do you want? Is it fun to block me? Josué retorted. Why keep someone irrelevant around? I responded calmly. So you're abandoning your son too, aren't you? I glanced at Joiran. Joiran was looking at me with hopeful eyes. I smiled. It's him who doesn't want me, and I respect his choice. I didn't abandon you. Joiran quickly said, I want to be with you forever. I approached Joiran, noting he had gained weight, and said with a smile, have you forgotten? You told me yourself that you wanted Aunt Lynn to be your mom. And now she is. Shouldn't you be happy? Joiran's eyes reddened, and he seemed to be struggling. Josué cut to the chase. Yaki is pregnant and suffers from gestational syndrome, which makes her easily irritable. The doctor said she needs a quiet environment. So, during this time, our son needs to stay with you. But I'm very busy. The lab workload is huge, and I also need to prepare for my doctoral exams, I said, clearly distressed. Is reading some books more important than your son? Josué exploded upon hearing this. What use is there in getting old and still studying? How much money can it bring? Isn't the property I divided enough for your lifetime? Shinshi, what are you pretending for here? I didn't want to argue with Josué, but some people really push their limits. Taking a deep breath, I asked him, Josué, in all the years we were together, did I ever wrong you? Why bring this up all of a sudden? Josué grew agitated. I have never wronged you. I've been dedicated to you. our son. And our former home, now that we're divorced, and you insisted on custody, and our son said he preferred Linyaki. I facilitated everyone's wishes, now I'm living my own life. How am I in the wrong? When did I say you were wrong? Then why question my pursuit of a master's and a doctorate? Isn't this a critical period? Can't you, for the sake of our son, why do I always have to make sacrifices? I asked Josue coldly, laughing, when we graduated from university together. You asked me to give up my research opportunity to start a business with you. After our business succeeded and we had our son, you wanted me to sacrifice my career to return to the family. Then, after our divorce, as you wished, I gave up custody of our son. The more I spoke, the more absurd it seemed to me. Now, you have a new family and no longer need your son. You want me to sacrifice myself again to contribute to your happiness. Josue, don't you think you're being shameless? When did I say I no longer needed my son? I only said that during Linyaki's pregnancy, you could temporarily take care of him. I will double the child support, Josue retorted, clearly agitated by my words. What if Linyaki gets postpartum depression, or develops nervous exhaustion after that? There are so many ailments one can have, I said sarcastically. Yaki isn't like that. She cares deeply for our son. As if he were her own, Josue insisted, catching the implication in my words. If that's the case, then how would our son possibly affect Linyaki's pregnancy? Isn't that contradictory? Josue was left speechless. There was a moment of silence. Suddenly, our son, Joiran, who was already 10 and understood much of our conversation, distressingly asked, Mom, do you really not want me anymore? I haven't abandoned you. I'm just reassured knowing you have Aunt Lin as your new mom. I gently told Joiran, previously, to ensure Iran studied well. I often had to play the villain. Now, with no expectations, I vowed to never speak harshly to him again. However, Joiran seemed dissatisfied, saying, Mom, don't smile at me like that. It makes me feel like you don't love me. I stroked his head. How could I not love you? I just don't want to force you to do things you dislike, which might ruin you as you grow up. Enough, Shinshi, Josue interrupted, weary of my tone and perhaps feeling his pride wounded, as he had never been bested by me before. As he angrily left with Joiran, he threatened, since you don't care about your son, I won't ask you anymore. Don't expect him to recognize you as his mother in the future. I shrugged indifferently. Whether or not I tried, when he grew up, he would only recognize Aunt Lin, not me. Why should I suffer unnecessarily? I decided to focus on living the life I truly wanted. Even though it's exhausting every day, it's joyful and fulfilling. Treating oneself well can indeed lead to a good life, if not occasionally interrupted. Today, after finishing a set of experimental data, I looked at my phone, which was on silent, and saw several missed calls from unknown numbers. I returned the call, and it was Josue. Shinshi, come to the hospital. Your son had an accident and is injured. He's been hospitalized. I hesitated but eventually went to the hospital. Regardless of everything, Joiran is still my biological son. Even if there's no affection, there's still responsibility. I just arrived at the hospital room door. I could hear the heated argument inside. Linyaki screamed, Josue, how long will it take for you to send your son away? If you don't do it soon, I might end up dying at his hands. It'll be a double tragedy. Look, Iran doesn't dislike you. Why can't you just leave him alone? He even broke a bone falling down the stairs, and you didn't show the slightest concern. Josue raised his voice too. So, what? You want to see me fall down the stairs next? If I die, you'd have a reason to get back with Shinshi and have your perfect little family reunion, right? Enough, Linyaki, stop being unreasonable. Iran needs to recover. Josue lost his patience. Well, I'll show you what being unreasonable is. Linyaki pressed aggressively. I'm laying it out today. Either you get rid of your son or I'll jump off a building with the child in my womb. Iran is only 10. Where do you expect him to go? Josue's voice trembled with anger. I don't care where he goes. I just can't stand seeing him anymore. Linyaki was adamant, otherwise. Prepare for a tragedy. With that, Linyaki turned and left. As soon as she stepped out of the hospital room, she ran into me. Linyaki was clearly taken aback when she saw me. I was stunned too. Was this still the delicate, youthful girl from before, now heavily pregnant? She could easily be mistaken for an older expectant mother. It had been only 2 years. Shinshi, what are you doing here? Linyaki was like a lit fuse, ready to explode at anyone. I heard from Josue that Iran was hospitalized, so I came to visit him. Are you here to see Iran or Josue? What? Trying to seduce Josue while I'm pregnant? Is she out of her mind? But her being irrational anytime and anywhere isn't surprising. Though I hadn't seen Linyaki in the past 2 years, but having been with Josuyu for many years, we share common friends. Occasionally, I hear from them that ever since Lin Yaki found out she was having a boy, she started causing trouble nonstop. Any slightly attractive female staff at Josuyu's company would be accused by her of trying to seduce him, pushing them to resign. She also didn't allow Josuyu to attend any social events. If he did go, she would show up and create a scene, causing him to lose many major projects. They say Josuyu was nearly driven mad by Lin Yaki. Listening to all this, I found it somewhat amusing. How could anyone be driven mad like that? Josuyu actually loved Lin Yaki's lively spirit. I'm giving you a warning. Josuyu suddenly burst out of the room, shouting at Lin Yaki. He looked furious enough to devour her. Lin Yaki probably hadn't seen Josuyu this angry before and seemed a bit frightened. Then she straightened her belly, as if gaining some courage, and shouted at Josuyu, "If you dare to wrong me, I'll die just to show you, and you better deal with your son, or it's never over between us." Lin Yaki turned and left. Josuyu was shaking with rage. I stood by, watching the drama unfold. "Do you think I deserve this?" Josuyu suddenly asked me. I suppressed my smile. "It's none of my business, so I won't comment." I never expected Lin Yaki to change so much during pregnancy. "I'm not interested in your issues with her," I reminded him. "I came to see your son." Josuyu said no more. I entered Joiran's hospital room. He lay on the bed, his eyes red. Clearly, he had heard his dad and Lin Yaki arguing. The moment he saw me, his eyes lit up and he excitedly called out, "Mom." I nodded, rather unenthusiastically. I simply asked him how he was doing. He told me that when he came home from school today and was going upstairs, he ran into Lin Yaki. He claimed that Lin Yaki deliberately pushed him down the stairs, but Lin Yaki insisted that he didn't want her to have another child who would compete for attention. So he tried to push her down the stairs to harm the baby she was carrying. Lin Yaki acted in self-defense and accidentally pushed Joiran down the stairs. Joiran also said that Lin Yaki was very cruel to him, that her previous kindness was all an act. Ever since she married his father, she secretly hit and scolded him, calling him an unwanted wild child. She always forced him to eat chicken leg burgers, even when he didn't want to, saying that he only deserved such junk food. The more Joiran spoke, the more he cried. I listened but remained calm, indifferently. I reminded him, "You shouldn't be telling me these things. You should talk to your dad or your grandmother. They don't believe me. They only believe Aunt Lin." Joiran cried sorrowfully. "They only care about the child in her womb. They don't care about me at all. They don't love me. They despise me. Mom, can I come live with you?" Joiran clung to me tightly. "I'll be good and listen to you from now on. I won't say bad things about you anymore. Mom, I know you really love me. It was all my fault before. I shouldn't have spoken ill of you and disliked you. I was wrong. Can you forgive me?" Joiran kept crying. He was truly afraid that I didn't want him anymore. But the truth is, I didn't want him anymore. I gently but distantly pushed his hand away and said, "Iran, everyone must take responsibility for their choices. When you chose Aunt Lin, Mom had already left your world. But I regret it now. I know I was wrong. If you regret it, then you should change yourself, not try to change me." I said calmly, "My life now will not change for anyone, especially not for you and Josuyu." I coldly left Joiran's hospital room. There was no possibility of forgiveness, nor had I ever considered forgiving him. "Shinshi, when did you become so cold-hearted? Iran is your own son. How can you just abandon him? Don't you feel that you owe him?" Josuyu stood at the door of the hospital room, angrily confronting me. I paused, responding methodically to Josuyu. "Firstly, according to our divorce agreement, I have been providing child support every month. I have fulfilled my responsibilities as a mother and have not neglected him. Secondly, Joiran is also your biological son, and you have custody. So you should be the one to manage your household affairs and ensure that Joiran has a comfortable living environment. Lastly, our marriage ended because of your infidelity. You have no right to say that I owe Joiran anything. If anyone owes him, it's you." Josuyu flushed with embarrassment. After a moment, he seemed to muster great courage and asked me, "Shinshi, must I humble myself before you?" I looked at him, puzzled. "By doing this, you want me to apologize to you voluntarily? To say that I regret divorcing you to marry Lin Yaki? Fine, I admit, I was wrong. I shouldn't have fallen for Lin Yaki's seduction back then. It was wrong of me to let her ruin our relationship and marriage, and to divorce you because of her," Josuyu said, his regret tinged with arrogance. He continued, "I promise you, once Lin Yaki has had the baby and the law allows, I will divorce her immediately and we can be together again." I remained silent, utterly shocked by Josuyu's words. I couldn't fathom how shameless a person could be to say such things so matter-of-factly. I know you've been single these past 2 years, Josuyu added. You've been improving yourself, focusing on your studies and keeping fit. Is it all just to make me regret, to make me see? So you think I'm living my life just to show you? I couldn't help but laugh. Shinshi, we're not getting any younger. There's no need to go through these motions. Just take the deal. I'm not that patient. Josuyu seemed uninterested in a drawn-out conversation. He said, I still have a large flat. You and our son can move there first. After I divorce Linyaki, you can move back into the villa. I didn't respond, just looked at Josuyu and laughed. Josuyu was getting frustrated. What are you laughing at? Are you that happy? I'm laughing at how someone can be so utterly shameless. Shinshi, Josuyu fumed. I don't know where you get the confidence from. Thinking I would remarry a reckless man who's been irresponsible in his relationships and is arrogantly proud of it. Am I sick? You better watch what you're saying, Shinshi. I'm only giving you this chance for our son's sake. Don't push it. Keep this wonderful opportunity for someone else. I can't afford it, I said emphatically, and I'm not interested. Stop being sarcastic. Josuyu couldn't hide his anger. You don't really think that a divorced woman in her 30s with a 10-year-old child will be sought after by men? They're just playing with you. Which man would seriously marry such a woman? Why, you can remarry, can't you? I retorted. Are men and women the same? Can a man not change his ways and be valued like gold? What about women? Josuyu was utterly scornful. So this was why Josuyu felt no remorse about his repeated infidelities within the marriage, as a man. He was far too pleased with himself. I don't need your concern. Even if no man wants me for the rest of my life, I wouldn't consider you again. I flatly refused. Before Josuyu could speak, I added, moreover, who said a woman needs a man to live? Why can't I enjoy being independent? I'm doing just fine on my own. Why should I serve someone else? Can't I spend money? Can't I enjoy my days? Do I lack arms or legs that I absolutely need a man? Josuyu was left red-faced by my words. The more I spoke, the more amused I became, and I left laughing. I really don't understand how, in this day and age, Josuyu's male chauvinism can still be taken for granted. In my past life, I must have had my head caught in a door to have put up with him for so long. After parting ways with Josuyu on bad terms, he didn't bother me again. I successfully stayed on at the university to pursue my PhD, continuing to explore the academic field I love. There was a college reunion. I initially didn't want to go, but my former roommate, who had always been persuasive, insisted, and mentioned Josuyu wouldn't be there. He said there was a mess at home and that he couldn't come, so I agreed to attend the event. During the banquet, a classmate couldn't help gossiping. Did you guys know? Josuyu was almost driven crazy by his mistress. Then he turned to look at me. Shinshi, you don't mind us talking about your ex-husband, right? Why should I mind? He's my ex after all. I said with a laugh. Well, I'm not holding back then. The classmate went on, revealing more. Josuyu's mistress is really something, always causing drama. Using her status as the mother of his child, she embarrasses Josuyu in public, bans attractive female employees from his company, and even disrupts his business dinners. She's practically ruining his company. It's said she's even trying to kick Josuyu's oldest son out of the house to make way for her own son. But that's not even the main point. There's an even bigger bombshell. The other classmates were all curious, pressing him for more details. With exaggerated excitement, the classmate declared, the child born to Josuyu's mistress isn't even his. Really? No way. How did they find out? Everyone was asking at once. When the baby was born, they did a blood type test. Right, the son is type O, Josuyu is type AB. It's impossible for him to father a type O child. So Josuyu must be furious, right? This is like being cuckolded, and to think his mistress has been so brazen because of this child. Josuyu might as well have killed her, exclaimed the classmate. I heard Josuyu almost did kill her, and now they seem to be going through divorce proceedings, because he hit her. I heard the divorce is going to cost him a lot. Listening to all this, I thought, who says there's no justice? My roommate cheekily asked me, hearing all this gossip. Don't you think coming here was worth it? I nodded. Indeed, it was quite satisfying. However, just as the reunion was about to end, nobody expected Josuyu to suddenly appear. We had been talking about him all evening, and seeing him in person made everyone somewhat awkward. Is it over? Josuyu appeared quite composed. It's over. The class president hurriedly replied. Sorry, I was held up by something. No worries. Let's catch up another time, said the class president straightforwardly. Normally, we might have stayed longer with Josuyu, but this time we just dispersed. Josuyu didn't say much else. Classmates began leaving one after another. I had drunk a bit and didn't drive, so I was standing by the roadside hailing a cab. I'll give you a ride. Zhou rolled down his car window. No need, I refused. Come on, it's on the way, really, no thanks. With no other choice, he stopped the car and came over to me. I pretended not to see him. You must have heard about how Lin Yaqi played me, Zhou said. I just heard. I didn't hide my amusement. It's really quite funny. Today, Lin Yaqi and I officially divorced. Zhou looked at me. I didn't respond. After all, it was none of my business, and I wasn't interested. Last time I wasn't sincere enough, Zhou suddenly said in a subdued tone. I've regretted it for a long time, just couldn't swallow my pride to ask you. Looking at him, I found it amusing. You can swallow your pride now. What? Suddenly no one wants you? Aren't men considered priceless once they've truly changed? Shinshi, I admit I was harsh before, but I never intended to hurt you. I just didn't know how else to get you back, Zhou said helplessly, so I resorted to reverse psychology. Thanks for your reverse psychology. It only succeeded in making you more repulsive to me. Zhou's face flushed red and then turned pale from my words. He said, Shinshi, I'm sorry. I really realize my mistakes now. I swear, I won't do anything to hurt you again. Let's start over. Just you, me, and our son, the three of us. The three of us. How could he even dare to say those words? I could barely contain my disgust. Come back home with me. Zhou reached out to me. I skillfully avoided his hand. Zhou, somewhat embarrassed, continued, our son is waiting at home. He's really missed you these past few years and regrets the things he said to you. It's not just him. I have regrets too. So, can you forgive us just this once? I can't forgive you. I shook my head. My response was firm. Shinshi, why should I forgive just because you regret? What about all the suffering I went through? What about the enlightenment I gained over a lifetime? I asked him coldly. A lifetime? Zhou didn't understand. There was no need for me to explain further. I coldly stated, from the moment we divorced, it was truly over between us. You don't need to waste your time coming after me. And don't use our son to try to reconcile. It's useless. Not only is it useless, but you also annoy me because you disrupt my life. Are you worried I won't really change? Zhou asked. It has nothing to do with me. If I were you, I'd have concerns too. Zhou seemed to understand me, saying, I'll show you. How much clearer can I be? I will not get back together with you. Aren't you still single? Zhou assumed my being single meant I was waiting for him to reform. I had no strength left to explain. Zhou was too confident. He thought that just by turning around, I would definitely be waiting there for him. Let him think what he wants. Eventually, he'll realize that I've long moved on, far beyond his reach and unworthy of me. Half a year later, at the centennial celebration of University A, all alumni of University A were invited to attend. The campus was bustling. As a distinguished alumnus, I stood at the podium in the grand auditorium. The hall was packed, including Zhou among the audience. He probably couldn't believe that I was standing on such a prestigious and significant platform. Behind me on the big screen were all my academic achievements over the years. Achievements that would leave a permanent mark in the university's centennial history. After my speech, thunderous applause filled the hall. I thought I heard someone shouting, Senior sister, you're amazing. I smiled and bowed before leaving. Walking through the campus, many students came up to me, wanting photos and autographs. After finally managing to send off waves of students, I saw Zhou and his much-grown son, Zhou. Appearing before me, Zhou excitedly said, Mom, I just saw your speech in the auditorium, and I'm so proud of you. Everyone around was saying how incredible you were. I smiled faintly, offering a polite thank you before turning to leave. Shinshi, Zhou called out to me nervously. I looked back at him. His eyes still carried a look of surprise, as if he couldn't pinpoint when I had started to change. I had become completely different from the middle-aged woman he remembered, who used to revolve solely around him and our son. He sincerely expressed, You were really impressive today. I hadn't expected you to achieve so much in the academic field. So, have you finally come to realize? I asked him, with a hint of mockery. Zhou's face showed a trace of embarrassment, but he quickly masked it, saying, It's not because of your achievements that I want to reconcile. I've been wanting to get back together even when I didn't know about them. I know you've always resented me for betraying you. Zhou said anxiously, seemingly realizing that I was drifting further away from him. He said passionately, The truth is, I've always loved you. My thing with Lin Yaqi was just a fleeting attraction and male vanity. I never once thought of divorcing you. Lin Yaqi and I were just play acting. It felt like the biggest joke I had ever heard in this life and the past one, but I did not interrupt him. Zhou continued regretfully. The reason I insisted on having our son's custody was to avoid divorce, knowing you wouldn't bear to part with him. But I never expected you to actually give up the custody, leaving me no choice but to agree to the divorce. After the divorce, I never intended to be with Lin Yaki. I've been waiting for you to come back. I even took precautions every time I was with Lin Yaki because I never thought about having a child with her. So, I should be grateful to you for the magnanimous act of using protection while betraying me emotionally and physically. Lin Yaki said she was pregnant, and I didn't think much of it, never suspecting she might be cheating on me. I thought the contraception just failed, Zhou said, still unable to hide his anger. He paused for several seconds before continuing. When Lin Yaki insisted on a commitment, I actually didn't agree. Do you remember that night I called you? If you had just said not to marry Lin Yaki, I wouldn't have, but you said nothing, and in anger, I agreed to marry her. Even on the day I married Lin Yaki, I was still waiting for you to stop the wedding. If you had come, I would have chosen you. But you didn't. I had no choice but to marry Lin Yaki. Listening to Zhou so-called love for me was really hard to assess. He continued in agony. After marrying Lin Yaki, she caused endless dramas, making me a laughingstock in the business world. That's when I truly realized how good you were to me, how tolerant. I even wished I could divorce her immediately and get back together with you. But she was pregnant, and legally I couldn't divorce her, so I hoped you would wait for me. I even thought about using our son to win you back. But you kept refusing me. Do you know how scared I was? I was terrified of never being able to find you again. Zhou's eyes were reddened, yet, I found it utterly ridiculous. At least, I never felt his fear then. He still acted superior in front of me. Later, Lin Yaki had a son, but he wasn't mine. I was extremely angry yet relieved. I could finally divorce Lin Yaki and be with you. Zhou looked at me with hope in his eyes. Shinshi, I'm sorry. I used to be terribly wrong. From now on, if I ever do anything to hurt you again, I'll cut off my own legs. Mom, I'll be good and listen to you from now on. I won't break your heart again. Zhou Ran followed with a promise. I watched the father and son. I saw their remorse, their deep affection, and their anticipation. Yet, I remained unmoved. Seeing no response from me, Zhou spoke again. Shinshi, won't you come back to us? Let us make up for the hurt we caused you. Okay, no need. I shook my head. I've healed from those wounds a long time ago. I don't need them. And I certainly don't care for them anymore. Shinshi, Zhou, don't you think that you're no longer worthy of me? I cut him off, mocking his presumptuousness. Zhou quickly tried to clarify his stance. Shinshi, it's you the person I like, whether it's the you from the past or the you now, regardless of whether you're outstanding or not. And why should I, being so outstanding, settle for scraps? I asked him with a laugh, not sparing him any dignity. His face turned red. Probably out of shame. Still, he didn't give up. He said, Shinshi, haven't you always been single? So, being single is his reason to assume I would come back to him. I smiled and turned my gaze away. Chin quickly came to my side and naturally wrapped his arms around me, clearly eager for my acknowledgement. He casually greeted Zhou and Zhou Ran, ex-brother-in-law, and big son. Zhou's eyes were fixed on Chen Zhiqing's hands around my waist. Shinshi, to reject me? Did you have to pick just anyone? It's not just anyone. I knew what Zhou was about to say, but I ran out of patience and spoke bluntly. I've been single for so many years because I enjoyed being alone. Now, I'm not single because I find this man worthy enough to start a new marriage with. I watched as Zhou struggled to accept this, then twisted the knife a bit more. So, my being single or not has nothing to do with you. It's about my own choice, and you, in my heart,